You see that flexibility? That's on one leg, guys. Trying to switch it up a little this morning. Get a little flexy on you. I need to calm down. Please calm down, Scott. My heart's racing. My heart's racing really fast. I'm trying, when I do these little monologues, I'm trying to give you a little sneak peek into my brain, because this is kind of how it works, right? I'm extremely excited right now. Why? Because I'm streaming. That's it. I enjoy to stream. It's new to me. Crypto is new-ish to me, right? Calling out gurus and absolutely leveling everyone, new to me. But I'm excited. I can't stop thinking. I've been diagnosed with many mental health issues in my life, okay? Diagnosed. I've been diagnosed with OCD, depression, all the junk. And I'm telling you, a good passion fixes all of that right up, my guys. It fixes it all right up. Because I don't feel valuable in this world unless I'm helping, build, create something, helping. I need to do something of value, or I don't want to wake up. I don't care about having sex with a million girls. I don't care what everyone else thinks about me. I don't care. I just want to be valuable. I don't know why. I don't exactly understand why, but it's probably just because I'm a man and I'm full of absolute testosterone 24/7. I'm ready to break face at all moments. Guys, this is Crypto in the Morning. It's your boy GRC. I'm taking over this bitch.
Young folks, you tripping on them motherfucker.
Rich at heart. Rich at heart.
Bought my hex from the fucking start. .1 everything we mark. Bought my hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm rich at heart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hairy start. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Bought my hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm rich at heart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hairy start. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Checking my MetaMask moving. Look at the hex, he is mooning. Looking at wives they be choosing. Peter is why they be losing. Pull chains out, now get me a check. He's gas up and it got me a mess. Remember the times he died collect. Hex I been eating, I'm dying in the best. Getting this back like a year ago. Getting this post, I ain't letting go. Swerving the ring like a Lambo. Getting this back like a year ago. Getting this post, I ain't letting go. Swerving the ring like a Lambo. Bought my hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm rich at heart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hairy start. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Bought my hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm rich at heart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hairy start. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Rich at heart. Rich at heart. Rich at heart. Rich at heart. Getting this back like a year ago.
What's up, bro? I see there's an abundance of energy this morning.
I ran to my car.
I love it. As soon as you guys can't see this because the video comes up, but as soon as the video starts playing, Hex and the music video, he runs off the screen, and I can see it in the green room here. He runs off the screen. He pulls to the car 3 seconds before the video ends.
I do, because I always leave it. What do I leave in there? I either leave my energy drink or I leave whatever I'm using.
Because I got some pre-workout right here.
No caffeine. Cheers. I have no caffeine up to the show. That's what I've been trying to do the last couple of days. So I reward myself with a little caffeine in my water. Just a little scoop, not any of it.
Yep, I've got like a little baby quarter scoop in here just for some.
And why do we only do a baby little quarter scoop? Sam would love to be jacked up beyond reasonable doubt, but He understands his dopamine system. He very intimately understands the reaction when you take a drug, when you overexert your dopamine system. It always has a lagging indicator afterwards, every single time. If you don't understand this, you've never done drugs long enough, because you know what I mean, Sam? You understand. I would love to take a full scoop of pre-workout and absolutely get into everyone's face right now. But
dope. Yes.
But why don't I do it? I understand my dopamine system. I would rather have a little bit here, a little bit at the gym later, rather than smack it, because guys, we have a whole day. So if you want to be a little stimulated throughout the day with something like caffeine, spread yourself out, give it a little surface area. Never hit it hard when you're doing anything. I say this all the time. People take Adderall, period. If you want to take Adderall, you should never take it. But if you do, take a third of what they tell you to take from your doctor, a third, and then take it every other day. Your dopamine system can 100% regulate itself under those circumstances. If you do it every day, you will have chronic downstream effects, chronic mental health issues, because your dopamine system can never react itself, and you're just downstream losing touch with your natural self.
Because these things, the stimulants, can really F your stuff up. Like when I was doing the MBA and the CFA at the same exact time, I would only use I would go to my doctor, so I get it prescribed to me, right? And then I would only use it for strategic reasons, because it can be like any tool, like a hammer. You can build a table, but you can also use a hammer to kill somebody. These drugs are also
RG3, don't say stuff like this. You realize I'm a genius, right? You realize I understand.
I got zero dopamine left. System, it's crashed for years. Don't do drugs, kids.
There's no such thing as zero dopamine left, first of all. And if Sam knows, guys, I'll get right into the weeds this morning. I know so much about the dopamine system. It's disgusting. And I even know so much about it. I understand that there's drugs that you can take to actually enhance the way that drugs interact with you. Sam, you know that rabbit hole. Don't play with your mic by hand, please. So sorry, it was like fucking making
it was messing it up.
But yeah, so this is my common theme. I'm not a doctor or nothing, guys. I'm smarter than your average. And I'm telling you, you must, when it comes to dosage and frequency, period, those are the factors. When your doctor says take 30 milligrams of Adderall every day, just by him saying that out loud, I automatically knows he knows this much about the dopamine system, this much, because he's not that negligent, right? He wouldn't send a kid off to
just really quickly, give people context, because I've used Adderall many times, and I got it after I was in grad school or something like that. But GRC actually was prescribed it as a child. And we had a conversation years ago.
Child that if I took the amount I took as a child now, I would not sleep for 2 days.
But it also could be one of the reasons why, because we've had this conversation a couple years ago, could potentially be one of the reasons why, or factors in some of the things that have taken place in your life, right? Not that
everyone blamed me for. By the way, well, let me.
Well, it's your fault, but at the same time, like there's factors.
Yes. I was mentally ill as a 6-year-old. I remember clear as day. This was before Adderall and all that stuff. So I was whacked out, dude, for sure. Like I was cracked. I remember not being able to go to school and shit, because I was just like, I'm not going, or like I'd cry and just be like, I'm not going. And literally, they would have to just carry me to the guidance counselor's office. That was me. That was Jim.
How old were you when you got prescribed Adderall?
I think I was in middle school, so I think it would be between 6th grade and 7th.
How old is somebody at 6 or 7?
I would probably be like 11 or 12.
Yeah, like 11 or 12, when you're still developing and you're taking this drug that is.
And people want me to trust the government and the pharmaceutical companies. They're like, Scott, please, they almost ruined your life. Just give them another shot. And I'm like, but I was 12. But don't think critically, Scott. Don't think critically. This was a mistake of the masses, not a mistake of the individual. Don't think critically, Scott, until you say it in their face. There's a company making money on your fucking kids, bro. Straight up. So if you don't know that, then I'm not your friend anymore.
Also, which most people are not aware because they don't publish this data. They don't even track this data. This is how absolutely ridiculous it is. The CDC, which we won't get into the politics and, you know, all the funding and all the stuff behind that. But if you look at the data, right, you're like the leading cause of death in the United States is heart disease, right? And then you have, I think it's cancer, right? And you have like 750,000 people, and then maybe like 500,000 or 600,000 people. And then you have a big drop off in terms of deaths. And one of the numbers that is not reported, but is the third leading cause of death, is like medication, procedure, fuck up, all that kind of stuff together. There's a Johns Hopkins study a number of years ago. Over 250,000 people die a year from getting the wrong medication from the pharmacy and or prescription from a doctor and or a procedure on the wrong person or the wrong body part or the wrong organ. That happens all of the time. This is just not tracked. And that's the third leading cause of death in the United States. Is not from like some weird like stub your toe, get an infection and die. It's from like just people, humans making mistakes related to medication that they're supposed to take, how much they're supposed to take, the type of medication. Literally, imagine if you were going to the hospital to get your tooth pulled, right? And you go in there and you come out and your foot is missing because the procedure got messed up. And they said, oh, GRC is actually in here to have his foot amputated. And that stuff happens and it's not even tracked. It's absolutely ridiculous. 100% using the system to take advantage of kids to get money, or even
you want to see a perfect example from this morning? A prime example from this morning in real time, guys. I posted this morning right when I wake up. This was the first ad that was put in my face when I opened up Twitter. This is an automated ad. This is paid to play ad. No big deal. You're allowed to pay for ads. That's allowed. So that's not the breach of trust. The fact that it's paid to play, that's never the breach of trust. That's just a good sign. Remember, we always talk about that as a indicator, not necessarily a just trying to make sure I don't pop my DMs open. Okay.
Yeah, no, you pull it up and we won't share it.
Right here, do you see it?
I'll let me add it to the screen. Baltimore, we can do.
So you guys know that I'm in the Baltimore region, correct? Yes. So when I woke up this morning, I was scrolling through Twitter. And this is the first thing that was broadcasted to me. Okay, Baltimore vaxxed at Be More Vaxxed. And this is a paid ad. Baltimore, we can do this together. The vaccine is safe. Protect your friends and family. Find a vaccine location near you. Guys, remember, why do you think this exact company would like you to get the vaccine? Do you think they care about public health? If you do so, please close the tab. Close this tab. If you believe this ad is about public health, I need you to stop watching my channel because you're so far behind that you will not catch up. You should just pleb it out. Just go pleb it out. Because if you think that this has anything to do with public health, you are stupid. Okay, find a vaccine location near you. Be more vaxxed. You can't go hang out with your friends until you've been vaxxed, Johnny boy. That's the quote on this fat ass chick. That's probably, hey, why don't we get her lipid panel done? How about that?
Why don't we do her blood pressure, blood sugar?
I'll invite her on the show, get her blood sugar lipid panel done, and we'll see who needs the protection, okay? You dumb fucking slaves. You fucking sellout horseshit losers. I don't care if you're a friend and family of mine. Wake the fuck up and look. Open your eyes. And if you don't like the way I'm talking, please stop watching my channel forever. Because I will scream this at the top of my lungs. That is manipulative ad marketing, trying to force kids to jab shit in their arm for money. And I'm not talking about the chemistry of the vaccine. I don't fucking know shit about that. Okay, fuck you. What I do know about is marketing. And I know about manipulative marketing. And that's okay if it's for a good thing. Richard Hart does a lot of manipulative marketing. But we all have really good success after we find Richard Hart. Everything else, they're not hoping you succeed afterwards. Okay? So that's all I know.
It's 100% for money. We're talking about the manipulation and the marketing. 2 or 3 weeks ago, we had talked about this company called Project Veritas. Several people here have probably heard of it before. And they do like actual journalism. You know, the stuff that the fake news used to do, like actual journalism with undercover footage, right? And they a lot of times will utilize like a hot girl who has a camera that's posing to go out on a date with some executive or person at an actual company. There's an echo on your side.
Sorry.
You're good. And this was posted, I think it was yesterday. This is not obviously from the company or whatever because they've been banned on Twitter. But he goes on to talk about how Elon Musk.
Hold on, Sam. Before I want to ask you about this.
You're muted. Or
do you think this is legit? Before we play this, I've seen this shit. Is this shit legit? Can people?
This is one.
I want to know in the comments before we play it. I'm sure it is legit. I'm just asking. Okay. I just haven't looked into it. So you know me.
Twitter confirmed. Twitter confirmed.
Twitter confirmed. Is it legit, guys? And if you have a source or anything that you'd like to throw up as well, please do so. We'll get to it. Sam, please continue.
This is Twitter confirmed.
And this episode's getting a little bit. This is going off the deep end.
It's going down that rabbit hole. So
I'm letting it go off the deep end. I don't care. We're going.
We already went there. We already jumped.
We already went back. Triple jab marketing. Like, let's go.
So I believe it's this video, 6.4 million views, and it was released, within the last 24 hours. Less than 24 hours, it's been maybe 14 or 16 hours. And where he goes on to talk about Elon Musk actually having special needs or Asperger's. I'm gonna play the video. It's about 2 minutes long. This, and there was one that came out about 48 hours ago talking about how Twitter actually doesn't believe in free speech, and they're commie as fuck is what the person who works at Twitter actually says. And I don't know. This stuff is absolutely ridiculous. Okay, let's go here.
And is he going to say anything absolutely out of line?
No, he might do a tiny bit of swearing, but no.
Okay, that's fine.
He's not talking about.
He doesn't say anything like little kids or nothing.
No, we're probably worse than what he's going to talk about.
We don't make profit, so it's going to say ideology, which is what's led us to not being profitable.
The rest of us who are here believe in something that.
Sam, you got to full screen it. Sam, can you hear me?
Information or mislabeling media or whatever.
Yeah.
Why do you think this should be taken down?
Yeah.
Like, those are the questions they're going to ask him. Yeah. It's going to be hard for him to be like, oh, because people should make their own decision. It's like, no, but people don't know how to make a rational decision if you don't put out correct things that are supposed to be out in the public. As an advertiser,
So do you believe that, like, people, if I don't think that what you're putting out is the correct information, so in layman's terms, what does that mean?
When that comes back, can you full screen it?
Yes.
Okay.
When look at the laser focus on Sam. Bit finesse. What's good?
Bit finesse. We're happy you're okay. He had a little accident.
Oh yes. I hope you're okay. Will be in my mind, sir. I appreciate you.
I've been thinking about you, brother.
When you think about whether somebody is right or wrong, strong people who are actually leaders, don't just say that GRC, his opinion is not correct, so he has to shut up. And that is what they're putting forth over there on Twitter. And it's blatant. There's plenty of documentation. This is one of the reasons I actually like what this company does, because when they go through and do this kind of stuff, it's like what journalism actually used to do, right? What did your journalism used to do years ago? Expose bad characters, expose bad stuff that was going on. That's not at all what it is. It's the propaganda arm of one party. And it could just be the government in general, right? And you have people that out there actually trying to do the right thing and trying to actually spread like positive information. I don't know. We don't need to go further down this rabbit hole, but please wake up. Like, the reason we're at this place in this country, worldwide, is because I didn't do something for the last 20 years. I didn't stand up and say my piece. I didn't say this was wrong. I didn't say we should do this differently. We should have a conversation around this for the last 20 years.
No, Sam. If you have a conversation, then the people making money, everyone knows about it. You understand that?
How many times have you gone through and there's an opportunity to present or have a dialogue or say something is right or wrong?
Nice to meet you. Nice to see you, Freddie. I hope you're doing great. Hey, I don't know much about Project Veritas, but I've heard from you and others good things.
They expose Pfizer as well. They've exposed Facebook.
It's not even exposed. It's just like explain. You don't even say exposed. Like explain. I'm going to explain this in detail. That's exposed now. It's like if you explain anything in detail, it's exposed because there's always something else. And I'm totally gonna all that drama in the Hex community, guys. I'm done with it. Okay, you guys cannot be done with it. If you like that shit, that's cool. I'm done with that shit. I'm not a rich dude. I don't know about rich dude deals. So I'm gonna stay out of all that rich dude shit. How about that? Okay. But I'll show you that it's all about that gym rat shit.
I'm literally thinking, I was like, I'm gonna show him that it's not about the drama, it's about the biceps.
Trying to get my biceps in there somehow. I was trying to think it. But yeah. Good to see you, Freddie, of course. Great to see everyone in here. Why don't we say what's up to a couple people while we brainstorm? When are you going to have the interview with LL founder, Mintra, PHIAT? Already have done all three of those things. Louisiana. I don't know how to say that word.
Well, I think Mintra's coming on probably pretty soon.
Well, no, Gerardo won't put a date because he's so busy, but he's just telling me updates, basically. We just message. And I said, hey, if you ever need to come on here and explain everything to someone, like when it comes out, just come on here first. And he was like, okay, for sure. So we'll see him probably.
I'm going
to read the white paper.
Well, yeah, we're going to be talking about two things. GRC is going to get into the comments here. And we're going to actually read some of the stuff on the PHIAT.io website. I messaged the guy from PHIAT this morning. We missed each other, but we did exchange some messages. And we're going to do the same thing for Mintra. Right, we're going to look into the Mintra platform because they're supposed to be
I am a sacrificer, and there's a section on there that shows you how you can take your Mintra and stake it and earn free pulse. Wow, that's crazy.
And later today, I should have a video out. Yesterday, we were talking about the Amish kid, I think, or Amish bro, or I'm not sure what his handle is, but he was talking about some things with debt, and I realized that there's a lot of confusion around debt, right? Debt is the same thing as leverage for people who are not aware. So later today, I'm putting together a much more in-depth, deep dive, exposed video for debt, right? Because there's different forms of debt. You have crypto debt, and within crypto debt, there's different forms of debt that have different risk profiles. And you can contrast that to legacy debt and draw some conclusions or just understand.
That's just a joke around here, Freddie. Somebody said everyone follow Motley. And he got concerned. That's a little inside
please, joke. We should talk about the inside joke for a second. If you guys like the show, there's a link down below. If you scroll to the bottom, my Twitter is down below. Motley decided to be big man on the block and try to push me around, right? Because he's like the big bully on Twitter because he's got 14,000 plus followers. And I'm at 3,500 followers. And he's like, Sam, you're a little B, and you can't beat me by July 30th in terms of number of followers. So if I'm able to beat him, he bet me 50,000 hex that I can't beat his Twitter following. So if you want to help David and Goliath, right? I'm David, he's Goliath. If you want to help me out, jump down below, press the follow button on Twitter.
And if I beat both of them, they have to quit streaming forever. You can never stream again. Just kidding. Unfollow Motley on that one day. Yes, on that one day, unfollow Motley. You can follow him back the day after.
Yes, you can set a reminder.
That way, we're being friendly morally, but we're also being competitive like men. Okay. So, did we see? Well, let's. I'm going to mention a couple of things. I'm going to say hi to a couple more people in the chat. Hexican Papa, how are you? Bit Finesse, I love you. Freddie Quotes, always I love you. Humberto Gonzalez, good morning. After watching yesterday's video, I believe my belief is that what they're working on is V3 in private. Get ready for the rocket ship to the moon, melt your face off before the end of this month. I added the melt your face off in that.
We also have some comments too that we're gonna cover Fiat, Mintra, and I think I wrote down some notes here about yesterday's stream, and we're gonna just talk about that briefly as well.
Super Sin's been tuning in the last couple of days. Super Sin, great to see you in the comments. Mobility Mark, what coin could Terra Luna to zero next? Everything on the Terra Luna it's actually called Luna Classic now. That's the old chain. That was the old chain. That's Luna Classic. We're going to go Luna V2 next. Okay, guys. Just kidding. You know I'm joking about that scumlord over there. Not him in particular, just the whole system. Richard called that out like an absolute unit a year ago online. He was like, if there's true stables, one's going to be more valuable just by definition. And boop, goes one way. It's just, you know what I mean? It has to, right? Because there's negative externalities to both. And there has to be more on one than the other. In one way, whether that's from trading, security, whatever. Mm-hmm. They're going to pick a side. And whether the dude just wants to pick a side to F everyone else over. It's like, dude, come on. That was classic. If I knew what I knew now when Terra was coming out, I would probably be a little skeptical. I would still not be ready to be like, no. But I'm starting to understand what could potentially work and what does not the other way around. It's almost like a numbers game, right? Because you're just flowing value into a system and seeing where it spreads out. And if there's any inconsistencies in the system, it's not going to work at all.
Is there a way in crypto to effectively short shitty projects?
Yeah, I'm sure, but I don't. Hey,
Mintra.
Hey, Mintra NFC. We're gonna look at your website later and talk about it. Been on the lookout for Gerardo live stream with 24 hours going through all of our new updates. Hey, there's no
tell Gerardo to come on here. Tell Gerardo to come on.
He's busy. He's busy as fuck. I messaged him this morning. He's a friend of mine, but he's in Cali. He's 3 hours back, and he's a busy mother effer, and he likes to sleep in probably. So it's like not the best. But hey, a prime time 7 p.m. episode with Gerardo, me and Sam would love that in a big way. Anyone from the team and I don't know if the other founders are visible.
Especially if they've had experience talking to people, because sometimes if you're not used to talking to people, you're just better articulating your points.
A bit autistic when me and Sam are like, blah, 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 blah. And then the other guy's like, oh shit, I have to speak. They know everything, but they just are like, I have to present this. So when people come on here, never judge them. But hats off. Oh my God. The episode yesterday. After the live stream yesterday, dude. Oh my God. Wendy's came on. And then what's the guy? It starts with the H. What's the guy's name what's his username? He loves Hedron.
Crypto Sloth.
Yeah, Crypto Sloth. That's right. So Crypto Sloth came on here. Him and Wendy's had a Hedron battle. Oh my God! It was a battle. It was a battle of the Titans. It was a battle of it was the normies versus the whales. It was beautiful.
Well, because can
we play that?
We could probably pull Bullish. Can you find the clip?
I can do it. I can do it if he's not in.
So
we'll play a couple minutes of that because
Crypto Sloth is bullish. Very bullish on Hedron. I'm going to be going on with Crypto Sloth.
Wendy's is very not bullish on Hedron.
I personally think that Hedron's kind of cool, but there's just
I'll cut right through the fat for you. I'll cut right through the fat for you. It comes down to adoption. Period. End of story. Don't care anymore. Show me the adoption numbers. Show me the adoption numbers, and I will show you what Hedron will end up doing. Because that's what I learned from Crypto Sloth basically yesterday. What they're anticipating. So Sam, let's do a little talk real quick because you're just gonna love this. Oh my God. So imagine you have 50,000 T-shares. Imagine you have 50,000 T-shares and you did the 10x bonus on Hedron. That means for every B share, you're earning 10,000 Hedron per day, 50,000 T-shares. Can you do that math for me? 50,000.
So if you have 50,000 B shares, then you're earning 50,000.
No, I'm doing. Oh yeah, no, go ahead. You're right. That's how you do it.
So 50,000 B shares of, there's still an echo here. I'm not sure why. But there's 50,000 B shares of HAX. You get 50,000 Hedron times 10, right? So you get 500,000 Hedron. But there's not like a lot of incentive to hold Hedron. You intelligently like thought of yesterday, and I completely agree. So I ran the numbers. GRC is like, hey, I think that there's going to be a positive correlation between HEX price and Hedron. Because if you look at the correlation between HEX and Ethereum, or HEX and I'm bullish on Hedron.pro, Crypto Gains Club.
To be honest, Crypto Gains Club, as my brain actually starts to interpret information correctly, it's hard not to be a little bit bullish on Hedron, just due to the fact that we're talking about a derivative of the greatest asset that's ever created in the history of the universe. One, Sam, is that fair to say, price chart wise? Yes. Okay, so if y'all just heard that, that would be HEX. We're talking about. So, and then when you do a derivatives products, it doesn't matter what you say. Yeah, it can be really clunky, but to be honest, it is a little clunky, but it's not super clunky, in my opinion, just as a user. And now it's immutable code, right, Sam? And that's the part I like about it too.
Yes.
So what are they going to do? They're going to add a staking function. So what they do is they're just going to hexmarket.com. It's a third-party website where they're going to do their own airdrops, try to get their own traffic, try to move people through that. But it's the adoption of these two things that are important. If Hedron shits the bed and just doesn't market, Hedron will probably still work out long term.
Well,
I think it would. Like, I honestly think if they didn't even do the staking shit and they just let it go, like there would be correlation there long term, and you would just be like wildly more wealthy.
Crypto Gains Club has a very good point here.
I don't know if it's pegged to the B share yet.
No, it is.
Technically,
think about it. It is. They have it in the code. It's pegged to that.
Talk about it.
So think about this. What happens to T shares over time?
What is peg? First of all, real quick, when you say that word,
go to Pornhub and look up pegged, and you can see what it means. No, pegged. So just you're basically sorry. Tying the stream yesterday was like in my head. I was like, "What's up?" No, so you're basically tying two things together. That's all. You're tying those together. So if you are in like that bean sack race thing, where you put your leg into it, somebody else puts their leg into it, and you have to race, right? You can't move without the other person moving. That's effectively what pegging is. With like not the pegging as in what we're talking about.
Trustless, guys. Okay, one more thing. I have to cover this before. Please, everyone in here loves me, right? Yes, everyone in here loves me. Please, if you know me in person, please stop mentioning things about what I do in person. People come in here and they're like, dude, I saw you here, and here. And I'm like, can you just text me? Or like, do not say it in my live chat about crypto. Please, God, I don't have that much traffic. I mean, I have a lot of traffic. You meant okay, so real quick.
So let's talk.
Real quick. I gotta say this part for the. So basically, what I'm waiting for, right? When we were talking about that 50,000 B shares, right? I mean T shares, and we were talking about because that's going to be like 7 zeros after 999 million. So whatever, that's going to be 7 more zeros than that. So I don't even know if I know how to say that number. That's how much they're earning after the whole entire stake is done in B shares. I mean, in Hedron. It's like a crazy number. It's like over 9,999 trillion. And I don't know how to do the numbers past there. So what I'm saying is until that amount of Hedron is expensive, do you know what I mean? Like it's probably not even that expensive to buy that amount of Hedron right now. So like what a 10x 15-year stake, max multiplier, absolute nuclear gains. Right now, you could probably buy it if you're like a heavy turtle. Like if you have like 90 T shares or like 80 T shares, like you could probably afford like a max length, just amount of Hedron in liquid amount. Does that make sense to you? Was that smart?
No, dude, it makes 100. Yes, it's very intelligent, bro. Like I applaud you because that's very smart. That comment, Crypto Gains Club 369, is so interesting, right? Because I didn't think about it as pegging it to that, right? You know how we talk about arbitrage, right?
Yeah.
and how I like to talk about arbitrage. Okay, right? So what happens to the price of a B share over time? Do you see?
It goes up.
Okay. How many
B shares will be T shares. As hard as it is to get a T share, this time next year, we'll be saying like, oh, it's about time that B shares are that hard to get. Or
Okay.
like maybe not this time.
And what in the code for Hedron, how many is it locked in place that you get a certain number of Hedron per B share?
The code's done.
Correct. So when you peg two things together, it holds.
Hey, that's important to
you're
mention
up.
too, because there's usually not products that are done. So that is important to mention too.
And
Crypto Slot, get your ass on here. If you got 2030, get your ass on here, and I'm gonna bend you over and give you a little spank and give you a little how you doing. I need you on my show right now. I like that guy. Crypto Sloth is a thinker. He's a smart man.
We got two shows coming up in 2 weeks. If you want to catch Crypto Sloth and myself going back and forth, one on his channel, one on mine. But the key to understanding the bigger picture is the T share rate. You're basically pegging the price of Hedron to Hex with the 1-to-1 B share per Hedron.
So basically what he's saying right there is that because of the whole system is made so the more economic mass that comes in, the T share rate ratchets up, right? Or like you can't restake. I know exactly what it is, but I don't feel like explaining it all, right? So basically it ratchets up very quickly. So what do I always say? What's the biggest negative externality of Hex? This is always what I mention. What do I, and this is, guys, I don't even know if this is real. I've listened to so many videos at this point. I don't know who's influencing me for what, but just in my brain, this is how it works. If I was super rich, right? This is how I think about shit. If I was super mad rich and I wanted to milk the system, what would I do, Sam?
You'd fuck with it.
And I didn't care about Hex at all. Didn't care about Richard. Didn't even know about Richard. Didn't know about none of y'all. Didn't know about YouTube. I was just rich. And I see this opportunity. I looked at the software and I said, I want to use this. I would be staking as much money as I can for a month at a time and sucking funds out of the system, right? Taking the liquidity. So basically all the long-term guys like me are just upfront liquidity for guys that want money at the monthly. Like if you have enough economic mass and you go for 2 months, you make a significant amount of Hex, right, Sam? Mm-hmm. And I think that's my biggest understanding of Hex long-term. That what would worry me the most. But the awesome part is, Sam, that the rate just ratchets the fuck up to the fucking Neptune.
And because of that pegging, which is Crypto Games Club 369, I appreciate you giving that, because that is a really, really important thing, guys. GRC was just talking about you could go through and effectively buy Hedron for cheaper than you can get it for, like, according to like what it would be at a ratio at with Hex. And that is not, I would love to do a video on this to actually to see if it is priced below, if it's priced appropriately, because if you think about that, there's probably some type of arb type opportunity because of that mispricing. Because what Crypto Games Club 369 just mentioned is nobody is really like thinking about, probably, or a lot of people, definitely Wendy's and Motley, that is not something that's come up in the conversations I've had with them. I have not been super bullish on Hedron. I think it's awesome. I think it's cool. I think there's speculative value right there. But
I think I'm starting to get so stupid bullish on it. But again, I'm always a long-term thinker. That's programmed into me personally. Everyone's different. Bodybuilders are different too. Some of them take mad drugs. Some of them don't take any drugs. Some of them are squares. Some of them are crazy trend addicts. You never know. So just understand, I am wired for long-term thinking. I could give a flipping S what I do for the next year sitting in this desk because I enjoy it so much. Like, money's not on my mind. I want to be dominant and social and strong as fuck. So when I'm ready to make that plunge, I already have the attributes, right? That's why, like, when I started making this page, I think it blew up because it was like I already had a lot of the attributes people were looking for. I just didn't know crypto yet. Mm-hmm. Right? So it was cool. But Hedron, I hope T shares will be the thing of the past. B shares and M shares. B shares will be a thing of the past. I was thinking about that the other day. B shares will be a thing in the past before we know it. And I just hope I don't change.
Because, well, you want to change to be the
Well, you know what I
leader
mean.
and the person you
not
want.
the negative
Yes.
way.
Well, that's your choice, but completely agree. You choose.
Yeah, when
you
there's
want to
hot
change.
girls around, I don't know if like. I mean, I'm still very interested to see how I'll do in a social setting when I have an extremely large amount of money. Because I'm curious takes a hold of me in the moment. Like if I'm out and about, like I don't be acting up or anything. No. I don't be saying anything wild. I just talk to people, be nice. But you know what I mean? So I hope that as I go forward, we can keep talking and I can keep bouncing stuff off of everyone. Crypto Gains Club, all my friends, everyone in the chat, bullish. You know what I mean? Because I tell everyone on here, I've been diagnosed with so many mental health issues, and the main one probably OCD. You know, like you see it. People notice it when I have someone on here and there's any noise. I have to kick them off because I literally cannot focus anymore until that problem is solved. And I wish some of that would go away sometimes. I wish I could be like, hey, let's smoke a J and just whatever happens, dude, get your mic on. But I feel like I'm losing value so fast. And I'm like, you know what I mean? I wish I could be less calculated sometimes.
But so in that, first of all, let's start with the question, right? You're like, I hope I don't necessarily change in a negative way as I acquire wealth. So it's something that I think about too. Like I don't have much money at all. At all whatsoever. I just don't mention it as much as you do. But I've thought about that many times, and I think that by going through and having the self-awareness to recognize that there is decisions that are going to be made along the path, the journey of your life, where you have to be cognizant and self-aware enough to make the decision in the direction to be the leader that you want in your life. And recognizing that now by thinking what you just said, I don't have any doubt that you're going to be able to achieve that in a successful way by continuing to think that way. If you're aware, my personal opinion about my biggest weakness is that I'm not paying attention to something that I should be paying attention to. And by you mentioning that question about yourself and how you don't want to change it.
We got the goat coming in real quick. He's only got 15, so I need you to
Oh, what's up, guys? How's it going?
Well, ever since you were chirping your lips last night, I couldn't stop thinking about Hedron.
You a little bit.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't stop thinking about Hedron after what you said because I started thinking, and when I started thinking more, I started thinking about adoption in general, and I started thinking about how much it would cost because I started doing the calculations on that 50,000 B shares and how much it would cost me right now to have that full stake link and buy. Mm-hmm. And it was like reasonable. It was a lot, but it was reasonable. Like it was doable on some fashion, right? So I was thinking about that value right there, right? There's a lot of value right there. So just talk, Sloth. Sam, you guys talk back and forth. I might have to pop my camera off for 1 second. You got 15 minutes. What do you think most people are missing about Hedron and the long-term adoption implications of that?
I think people not overestimate. I think people are really fixated on the crazy amount of supply that's out there and how so many people can just mint a bunch of Hedron right now. I think when people think about that, like, oh yeah, this token's just going to perpetually dump. But when I think about it, I remember that there's only a finite number of people who are going to ever have that. Like, nobody's going to get 50,000 T-shares ever again besides the people who got in early. Nobody's ever going to get a 10x bonus ever again. And when I look at my onboards and I see how much Hedron they're able to get via their minting, it's nothing. So the ability to get this token, I think, is actually much more difficult than people suspect. Why
do people underestimate the fact that the guys that created Hedron were not having forethought with all of this? That's what I like. As someone that has very deep understanding of certain subjects, I understand that Alex has a lot of deep understanding about this stuff. So in my mind, he wrote the code. He designed this. There had to have been long-term implications. You know what I mean? So sorry for interrupting.
No, you're good. What was
Can
that,
you
Sam?
talk about that? So can you talk about that for a second? Like the supply of it, and because Wendy's, and I've talked to him about it, and I've had that same type of like. There's not really any point in holding it. Like I've thought that thought before, right? But can you talk about the supply of it, right? Because the supply of that is what? How is that growing? It's growing with the number of B shares, effectively.
Yeah, and there's also a multiplier of the time factor. So, my understanding of the motivation of creating Hedron was to create a derivative of a B share. But the way it works is it's not just a derivative of a B share; it's a derivative of a B share that's paid out. So, because you can mint it every day, what each Hedron token is a B share that has paid somebody hex at some point in time. That's what it represents as an ERC20 token. Now, because of that, there is a multiplier of time on there. So the shares get exponentially more difficult to obtain. And if that was the only thing that was going into the system, then it would be much more difficult, at least in the absolute value terms of these tokens to obtain. There would be much less, but it's multiplied by a factor of time. So every month that you wait, you get the same number of Hedron that you just minted the previous month. Now, having said that, and this is something I've been thinking about a little bit, but when you think about that multiplier, it cognitively makes us think this thing is not as rare as it actually is. But at the end of the day, it's just a multiplier, and the rarity of it is still intact because that multiplier is being applied to a scarce asset. I haven't fully thought this through, at least mathematically, but that's kind of where my thoughts are on that. I don't know if
But
that
I think
made
it's
any
even
sense.
fair just to go as far as you went with that, because I always mention this, right? This is like I'm never like the guy to mention the code, but I'm going to mention the adoption, right? You mentioned it yesterday. I think you nailed it, because you were saying basically this is an airdrop, Sam. So understand that, guys. This was an airdrop to the people they wanted to have the coins, most likely, right? Like the subgroup. So we were talking, Sam, that most people don't know about Hedron, right?
Yes,
Therefore, the subgroup would be smaller than the one in hex, right?
Correct.
Therefore, the adoption would,
Correct.
even the proportion of adoption were somewhat in any way,
Literally what I was saying yesterday.
the magnitude would have to push faster. And it's just via bodies.
There's just so little bodies who know about Hedron, period.
Yeah.
So, question. So,
Hold on real quick. I'm adding someone to the stream that I absolutely am obsessed with his videos now. So.
Yeah, what's up?
RH Maximalist, just join the convo, bro. Just jump right in, bro.
What's up, man?
We'll talk about Sloth only has
Nice
10
to meet
more
you as well,
minutes. So
Sam.
we're talking Hedron right now.
Hedron. Yeah, I think Sloth knows a little bit about that.
Oh yeah,
just a little bit. Sorry, Sam. Did I answer your question, man? Did I? I feel like I talked around it a little bit.
I wanted to talk because I think what you're saying has a lot more opportunities to like dive in a little bit deeper. When I've seen estimates for the T shares, right? Because that's effectively the same thing as a B share, but just added a couple of zeros. I think. Yep. The estimates I've seen is that the T shares are going down over time, and it seems to be the consensus that people believe that the number of T shares is going to go down over time. So if one believes that the number of T shares are going to go down over time, and they believe that that is an accurate thing, then the number of B shares is going to be going down over time as well, which would be the increase of supply of Hedron is going to be dropping over time, right? As you mentioned, the rarity of it, right?
Yeah.
Reducing the inflation effect.
Distribution is what's the word? I can't pronounce it. Asymptotic. It's asymptotic to zero.
Yes, exactly. And especially and at some point it's going to be million.
Basically nothing. Yeah.
Yes, kind of thing. I'm curious though, because there's what's the reasoning behind the person to hold Hedron, right? Because there may be a play where to get one B share costs X, right? But to get the exposure right? To get the exposure of a B share effect, you could get like 17x worth of the exposure for the same dollar amount in terms of Hedron, right? I ran the correlation data yesterday on the returns of Hedron. Yes, it's only been since like February 26th or something. So it's a very short time series, but it was daily returns versus Hex daily returns. And it is a positive correlation. It's not nearly as high as I thought it would be. But I think that there's a lot of people that, because it's thoughts that I had, that think like the way Wendy's like, there's no point in holding it, right? So how do you see that playing out in terms of, do you think that there's going to be something that kind of like incentivizes this? Because what I just described about getting the exposure of a B share for the fraction of the cost of it, right, is like something that maybe us will talk about and kind of understand. 99.9% of people would have no idea what I fucking just said, right? Like,
so I'll give you three reasons why you might want to hold Hadron. First is because you understand the difficulty to obtain it. So you know how you have to have B shares at some point in order to obtain this token. So if people are sharing their Hedron, they're effectively selling their shares in a weird way. Now, of course, they don't pay out like actual shares do, but you understand the distribution of it is really scarce. So you want to get it now while it's like hyperinflationary. Another reason would be because you want to speculate on the liquidation market in the future. So when that starts ramping up, people start taking advances and default on their advances. You will might have the ability to get Hex stakes fairly cheaply now because you bought a decent amount of Hedron really early while it was cheap. So the price of Hedron will go up with these liquidations as these liquidations go live because it's an ARB opportunity. If you can pay less to get Hedron off the market than you can to get that same stake by buying Hex, naturally, by market forces, the price of Hedron is going to go until that arbitrage opportunity is gone. But if you get it now before that exists, speculating on that in the future, then you kind of lock in that that delta right now.
Yes, I do want to hear that last point, but to expound upon that a little bit, because I think it would be valuable for the people watching to get a deeper understanding of what you just said. Yeah. Because what we're talking about is, go ahead.
So in Hedron, there's something called the liquidation market. And this is a native market on the Hedron contract that if anybody who takes an advance on their HSI stake does not make a payment in 90 days, that stake then gets liquidated, and then it goes on an auction where the first person who creates the liquidation event pays off their debt, and then for 24 hours everybody has the opportunity to make bids on that stake, and at the end of the 24 hours the highest bidder burns their Hadron and then receives that HSI stake at the end. So at some point Hedron is going to be directly redeemable for Hex stakes. And I think that goes live in like 10, 14 days, something like that. Not too long.
This is going to be fascinating. Do you have any thoughts? I can't actually see your name. I apologize. With the glasses,
his name is RH Maximalist, and
does it not come up?
His name is RH. Oh no, my bad. Sorry, I think I took that off because it was bothering me. But give me 1 second. I'll put it back. This is Max, aka RH Max. He's a Hexakin, and he has a YouTube channel that he's been messing around with lately, and it's really good.
Max, what do you think about this stuff? Because Crypto Thought has clearly put some time into the intellectual thinking about this. I love this. I think this is awesome. And some of the things we're talking about is not that idea, that virus of the mind in terms of an idea hasn't spread very wide yet. And if you're watching this, this is definitely an advantage for you if you kind of.
And along with it spreading wide, you become an actual reason that it progresses as well. You become an addition to the system. It's an ecosystem, right? Just to add that point in there, just so everyone remembers.
Max, I can explain it better than Sloth has. It's he definitely has been the lately. Yeah, I'm not going to one up that one. No, I think Hedron in particular, I think the most interesting thing to me is the NFTs factor of being able to buy the stakes. I don't know. I think when it first came out, there were some were they on OpenSea? I think there were a few that came out. I'm not sure how well they sold or how well they did, but can you imagine on Pulse Chain the Hadron stakes being for sale and being traded? And one important thing too that maybe a lot of people don't know is that when you so as far as I know, you can't take a stake you already made and make it an HSI. Is that right, Sloth?
That's correct.
Yeah. You have to use the portal to make that stake there. So when I started messing around with it, when it first came around, I was like, oh, I got some stakes. I want to turn them into NFTs. Nope, can't do that. You have to create new stakes through their portal using the contract to do that. So that's very important. If you're going to mess around with Hedron and you want to make HSIs and you want to make stakes like that, you have to use their portal to do it. You can't go make the stake. Oh, I made the stake. Okay, I want to turn to HSI. You can't do that. So that's another important point that I haven't heard anyone talk about either.
Yeah.
No,
don't sell yourself short there, Max. I read your blog. You had a very good understanding and solid understanding of the arguments for and against Hedron, and you articulated them very well. I was impressed by that. So don't sell yourself short.
A couple months ago, I can't keep it all in memory, but yeah, you killed on the technical exploitation. And like I said,
killers on this show, right? So you don't really have to ask each other back and forth. Who's like everyone in here I don't invite people in here that I don't think are very, very, very smart.
Yeah, rhmax.org/blog is where I have.
And I will be posting that because I actually want to get my hands on that first.
Crypto Soft, I had interrupted you, and you did have a third point to touch on there.
Let me let me get back. Let me get that train of thought back.
There are three reasons why holding long term.
Three reasons. One, you understand the scarcity mechanism of its distribution model. Two, locking in potential abilities to get cheap stakes off the liquidation market because you got a bunch of Hedron cheap. And then finally, as a safety mechanism, like a safety net for future advances that you take. So I was talking about this yesterday with Wendy's, and basically if you calculate the total amount of Hedron that you can take an advance on, and then look at how much Hedron you can get for a couple $100 off the market, probably what's going to happen is you can get like up to like 100x the amount of Hedron off the market than you'll ever be able to borrow. So what that means is you can take out advances and create debt for yourself to buy an income generating asset to pay off that debt, and have the ability to iterate that multiple times with like 100 chances to fail, because you can just pay off that debt with the Hedron that you bought now. So you're just locking in a position. You're not buying it because you're generating yield. You're just buying it so that in the future you're positioned correctly to take advantage of other opportunities.
No, that's fascinating. So
these are the reasons why I hold it, at least.
I appreciate the insight and the intellect around all that stuff. When you're mentioning that related to the borrowing piece of it and going to the open market and doing it or taking an advance on it,
that's why a lot of people don't buy Hedron, or they don't understand it, because they're saying what can I do with it? Like, what is the short term? They're always thinking the short term, but pointing out it is a long term play.
RH Maximus, remember your audience. We learned a really important lesson talking to Wendy's yesterday. He's in a very different position than most other people, and he made that very clear. He said, I'm making more Hedron than I know how to even look at. Most people probably not. So he's saying, for me, buying it, maybe not he doesn't care to look into it. But I'm telling you, if he did, and you never know what he's doing on the sidelines, but if he did, he could benefit from it, I think, for sure. But even if he doesn't, he's going to have a large stake in the system. So he just doesn't care.
But that's also
everyone we're talking to are the people that have Hedron already, because we're all hexagons.
But we're like this. Or at least I am. I'm like this, right? Correct. But Wendy's is going to be dumping. Wendy's is dumping.
From now, the whole system will be that compared to the rest of the system. So it just magnifies back down.
Mm-hmm. Before I go, because I do have to go at 12:15. I got class again. But
hey, good on you for doing that. Studying.
Thanks for coming here, Professor.
Yeah,
I know. It's like, you should be teaching the course, dude. What are you studying on?
Good. I'm studying dentistry, man. I'm trying to be a dentist.
Oh shit, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Dude, great job,
yeah, man.
Bob.
I appreciate that. I'm halfway through getting into my clinic year, so I'm excited about that.
Whenever I go on my tirades about education, just close your ears, please.
Personal question on this.
Because with
Personal
you,
question on this.
education for a guy like this all day.
Personal question on this. So, Cryptosoft, have you? Because you're smart, right? We're all intelligent here, and we like to at least think. At least that's the belief I choose to believe about people. Is there a future probability where you see yourself? You're gonna be not ever having to do work in the traditional sense, because you're gonna have.
He'll
You're
own
gonna
the
have
place.
plenty of
He'll
wealth.
own the
So-
census place, probably.
I'll give you my thoughts around that, because that's something I've had to give a lot of thought to, because I'm coming into this career that I'm very fortunate is highly lucrative. Yet I'm in this asset class that, if our assessment of it is correct, is going to make me so much more money than I could ever make, filling teeth.
And then half the time or less.
Yeah. Or much less. Like, the yield I'll get from my Hex stakes when Hex is $100 is going to be more than I could probably ever make in a year. Anyways, it goes back to one of my fundamental reasons for getting into dentistry, and that it's such a useful and valuable skill in of itself. The ability to relieve people from pain, the ability to give people smiles, to restore their ability to eat, function, speak. When I think about skills to develop and something that I want to have ingrained into my hands, my neurophysiology, my neuromuscular physiology, that's a skill that I want. And the financial freedom that I'm going to get from Hex, Hedron, Pulse Chain, crypto overall is going to allow me to spread that talent that I'm going to develop to more people who maybe would not be able to get it because they can't afford it or whatever. I'm going to have the ability to spread my talents more widely and more effectively because of the financial freedom I'm going to get. Yeah. In addition to that, I'm also very interested in research. I do plan to have an academic career. And unfortunately, the academic career, the research track, is not as lucrative as private practice.
How do you become an academic career person?
Yeah. So you pretty much have to get a PhD at some point, or an MD. So I'll finish my DDS degree, and then I'll probably find some specialty that I want to do. I'll specialize, and then I'll get a PhD while I'm specializing. That's kind of the track.
Are you gonna do it in dentistry or a different arena?
Yeah. So right now I'm in a tissue engineering lab and an orthodontics lab. So I could see myself doing orthodontics in the future and kind of continuing some of this cell biology, tissue engineering work that I like a lot.
When you get to that point, I hope that you are still in my life, because I don't want to necessarily do the research myself, but I want to fund research that is unbiased without just trying to prove an objective to sell a drug.
Oh, me too.
Hey,
that would be one of if I had unlimited money, to the point where I could just pursue my passions within intellect, that's all I would do is fund proper research, because I've read a lot. Sam's read 100,000 times more research papers than me. I've read 100,000 times more research papers than most people. Most of them are just biased to the user. It's just again, you find that you're looking through studies to find studies that are actually real. The whole time you're which one is not biased, and then you end up all but two.
Stop making Sloth rich. If we keep making him rich, he's not going to be healing people. Okay, stop making him rich.
Well, my I don't know if you guys saw the Max, you were with me on that. My Maximus style charity flowchart thing. These are already things I'm thinking about on ways that I could even personally crowdfund money to support whatever causes that I may be personally pursuing or other people are pursuing. So that stuff is already kind of brewing in my mind a little bit.
Get your notepad ready, bro. It's time for you to save the world in 3 minutes.
And onboard all the
I
guests.
Appreciate every word
all
that
their
came
money.
out of your mouth today, Crypto Sloth.
I appreciate that. You want me to leave you guys with one thing about Hedron, kind of a first principles thing.
Absolutely.
About what these HSIs really are. So we all really appreciate the decentralized and trustless nature of Hex, how we can earn yield without having to go to any middleman, any bank, and asking for it. And we get to keep the autonomy of our funds while earning that yield. Well, what these HSIs are, they are decentralized and trustless lines of credit. And Sam, as you know, because I know I've heard you have a very extensive background in finance. Debt is really the way that people build their financial foundation, and they build assets, they build businesses. And so it's not just enough to be building capital, but the way to really jumpstart your portfolio and your financial independence is by using debt appropriately and productively. And now we have the ability with these HSI stakes to take out debt without asking anybody's permission, and while completely maintaining autonomy of all of our finances. That's fundamentally what these HSIs are. They are decentralized lines of credit.
And this is good.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Crypto. I know you have to get out of here.
Yeah.
My one recommendation to you, your setup is looking great. Every time I see you, your setup's getting a little better. Get a little light. Get a little light. It'll make your face pop more, and it'll look better. Just a little, they're like $20 to be at your house the next day.
You don't need $20.
Don't, Sam.
This is a cottage cheese lid that you can use.
Cottage cheese is good. That's good stuff.
Yes.
And then I'm gonna head out, but let me show one thing real quick. Tonight, 6 p.m., about 2 hours before Richard Hart's stream, I'm gonna be on with RG3, the captain. We're gonna do a little interview. So that'll be a lot of fun. Come tune in. Give me a like. Give me a subscription on my channel.
I'll shout out your stuff before I end up today, because I want to do that.
Yep, I
I'm
appreciate
put
that.
all your stuff below, and I might even pop up your channel and just show it. So is that pending there yet?
It should be. If not, I'll throw the link into Twitter before I go to school.
All right, cool, man. Dude, have a great day, brother, and I hope we can talk soon.
And I'm also really looking forward to our conversation. If you guys, we have 2 videos coming up. I think
two streams, one on yours, one on mine.
Yeah. So if you guys want to go, like, we're gonna, at least on my channel, we'll probably do it on both, but we're gonna cover like how to value an HSI and talk about all this stuff, a lot more, the NFT, all this kind of stuff. So looking forward to that conversation a lot. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. I appreciate your time and all your insights, brother.
Right, take care, everybody.
With RG3, guys.
I'll see you guys. Take care.
Have a great day, Slav.
Yeah, on this last point too, rich people don't sell their assets. They borrow against them. That is something so unintuitive for every common person out there who isn't rich. And it's something that took me a long time to learn too. You don't sell your golden goose. You borrow against it once you are at that level of capital.
And if you don't, for me, even when you're not at that level of capital, don't sell your golden goose. Just find ways to make fiat on the ground and get a little golden goose. Get a little of that golden goose over time, right? Just a
17% with stable coins, just like Terra Luna.
Yep. Just a little bit, guys. Come on. Just move your way towards the assets. You're watching this show. You don't know jack crap about finance. You know that we're right. The chart says we're right. The facts say we're right. Everyone on here studies all day. This is the best community in crypto. And I'm absolutely, every day, it's so exciting to talk about.
On the counter side of this, because there are people who don't psychologically, because debt, right? I think we probably agree debt can be used in an intelligent, thoughtful way. But there's people out there that psychologically that's not the case. So you don't need debt, but it's a useful tool that you can utilize to do things faster.
If they would let me take a 180 grand loan on this house without me having to give them so much documentation, so annoying, I would do it right away. But I just, I'm sure I will need that at some point, and I'll deploy that when I need it. But yes, for sure. You can't make moves unless you have enough money to make a move, right?
Yeah, I want to say on debt, don't think of debt as credit card. When I say debt, when we say this, don't think of debt being your credit card. Debt is this whole different thing. It's not maxing out your credit card using like a bank account. That's not what we're talking about.
Assets.
Want to hear some really, really, really degen stuff that I'm probably going to be testing out, at least just for fun, that I don't recommend anybody else.
RH Max, just so you know, just a little backstory. Sam has known about Hex for about 70 to 90 days now. He's in financial world. Okay. So he's coming from the financial world and the Tesla world. He was studying Tesla for years and years and years. So in that whole, the whole ecosystem of that, not just
welcome to the roller coaster.
So Sam is kind of, he's experimenting. He likes to think about arbitrage opportunities a lot, but he's also learning as we go. A lot of these fee structures can be stressful. So, but he's excited about Pulse Chain. So just letting you know that going forward. He loves thinking about these, just some of the premiums between some of these assets.
Yeah,
we're talking about debt here. I'm going to probably do a video later today on different structures of debt because it changes the risk profile.
Oh, that'll be good.
Yeah, it's going to be super interesting because we talked about it yesterday, and I was like, "Ooh, this is good. I should talk about this more because it's not enough people are talking about it." But what Max was just saying, like literally, I'm in the process of refinancing this house as a duplex, pulling that cash out to put into crypto. Not saying anybody should do that, but now the completely degenerate thing to do, which not to do, right?
Yeah, it's. I mean, last year too, especially last year, a couple years ago, when interest rates were at 0, banks were giving you money. They would like pay part of your closing fees for you to refinance and go with them. It was insane.
I want you.
It sounds like a scam, but it actually happened.
2.5% refinance on this house. A year and a half, right in the middle of the, like, I had to have a mask on. I remember I was doing the contract with the lady, and like I had to, like, she had the whole, she looked like a freaking hazmat suit on. Basically, I was sitting on my front porch right down here, like, get the hell.
We don't know what this is yet.
And basically, they were begging me to take this rate because they were just making money on command again, right? They were finding guys like me. They're saying, "Hey, you want to take $300 off your mortgage and get a 2.5% rate?" I was like, "Hell yeah." Hell yeah, I do. You damn right I do. And now my house has doubled in value since then, almost 180. It's about 75%. And it's only been 2.5 years, RH Max.
Wow.
So now that I don't even think about that as like super degen, because like I'm like when you live on the fringe of the way you think about things, like stuff is it's not as like strange to you because you're on, there we go. It's not always as strange to you anymore because you're on the fringe, right? Like you're used to doing weird shit that other people think is weird, but you're like, well, this is relatively normal, right? Like I used to walk on like the edge of cliffs in Hawaii, like where other people were scared to go, just I just did it all the time. Now, think about this for a second. One of the reasons I actually got an MBA, one of the reasons I got my CFA, one of the reasons I have these other designations that I don't even put up, is because I wanted to run a hedge fund. I wanted to start a hedge fund and then roll that up into a PE firm to take advantage of things like this. And even if you use a credit card, you could borrow debt at say 18%, 19% on a credit card. Don't do what I'm talking about, guys. This is something that I might test just to show you guys, hey, I just got fucked, right? Or, hey, this worked out great, right? I'm going to do this.
That's a good rate. Sometimes it's 24%.
So 25%, we'll say. Now, Pulse X. Pulse is coming out, right? Liquidity provided. If you go through and you were like, okay, take out $5,000 in my credit card. I have a business, right? So I can just take my credit card, process it through my business to pull the $5,000 out. So I don't pay a cash advance fee, but I'm paying the processing fee, right? So I have this $5,000 minus say 2.5% or 3% from the processing fee. Yeah. And I can take that and put 2,500 into say Hex and 2,500 into eHex or something, or the wrapped eHex or whatever I want to on Pulse X, and earn 30% potentially per month. I was seeing rates over 300%, right? 300% annually. So you have these things where you could provide liquidity, and I say you're just earning 100%. You're earning 100% of your money over here, and you're paying 25% over here. So you're actually leveraging somebody else's money to make a 4x increase. You can use the profit from the liquidity providing on a monthly basis to pay your bill for you and pay that shit off in a relatively short period of time. So think about this. So you're like $5,000. Say that 10% a month is you're earning 10% a month roughly, which in my opinion I don't think would be terribly challenging to do, which is $500 a month. You're earning $500 a month. The bill on $5,000 on a credit card is say $165 a month. Your payment is $165 a month at 25%. You're generating $500 per month. You take this $500, you put it towards that. In 10 months, your shit's paid off, and you just have $5,000 of free crypto. Just an idea, completely.
In an ideal circumstance.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of caveats such as timing, obviously. When did you get it? When did you get in? And then is it going to do what you think it's going to do? For example, a lot of people speculate, Hex, once we know a fork date, Hex is going to explode because people are going to that's when they're going to start entering in and stop fucking dumping it all the time.
Think about that.
To get the BX at the fork. But when has that been? People have been thinking it's going to happen for months. So I imagine there's a lot of people who have maxed out their credit card a couple months ago because they thought it was going to launch in April. They thought it was going to launch in May, and it got screwed that way. So yes, when caveat all this with like degen type stuff, but there's some merit there, but you got to be very, very careful. So
Sam in general,
don't do anything.
Sam is one of the most analytical dudes I've ever met and structured. Sam knows himself very well. I would never do these things because I know myself very well. I would just start degenning, stay up all night till 3 a.m, caffeine all night, and I would try to do something stupid.
Please, no one have an aha moment in the last 5 minutes. This is theoretical for experts.
Yeah, no, literally, we need to have these talks, though. No, seriously, no, this is important because as leaders in the community, something that moving forward, intellectual, we have to learn this stuff so we can expose the people and to inform the people that actually want to learn. This is actually all going to happen, and there's going to be loans and stuff. And misinformation about loans is one of the things that I've been absolutely, because I'm new to loans, but I just see misinformation as clearly as day. You know what I mean? Like people just don't exactly understand the crypto to crypto loan system yet. And so Sam and I have been digging into that. What do you think about stuff like liquid loans moving forward? Stuff like we know liquidity, how it performed. We know stablecoin. We just had the back stablecoin, Bitcoin back stablecoin went to zero. So what do you think about this moving forward? The loans, all this stuff. I just want to start talking about it and see what.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still learning more about liquid loans too, as far as the tax implications and when they're going to have a product we can try out and stuff like that. And I got Jesse coming on the show next week so I'm going to deep dive into that. It's going to be fantastic. I'm very excited.
That dude's a whiz, dude. I'm sorry. For anyone who hates him, that guy is a whiz, man. Oof. I could tell you in the green room for an hour and a half. Golly, that guy knows a lot of stuff. So
you can go on for hours and hours, but we're going to try to go on for less time than that. But get Justin.
I'll be tuning into that one for sure.
Yeah, but I think the two biggest things I think come from liquid loans I think are most interesting are the added supplemental, the value added supplemental to the pulse chain of not selling it and taking a loan on it, right? This mantra of like, let's give you liquidity, but not give you the coin to sell. That is, we're not giving you pulse to sell, we're giving you a loan to sell, for example. So you're taking away that sell pressure and you're making people hodl more, all that stuff. So the supplemental, number one, that's the most fascinating thing. And the second is what kind of ties into that too, but it's the tax implications. Not a tax advisor, don't know shit about taxes, but it certainly seems there's been a lot of speculation, a lot of rumbling, and I'm going to try to get to the bottom of this on the stream next week of what exactly the tax strategies are using liquid loans, as far as, especially, I guess we'll do America-based ones, of course, for a broader audience or for the major amount of audience, but just understanding, can you use this to not pay taxes? Like, how does it actually work? Is this something that everyone is going to ape into? Because if they use their brain and don't want to pay the 35% or the 30% or the huge capital gains tax, they're not going to sell Pulse, and they're going to be able to get liquidity. It's beautiful. It's like this. We have all these different verticals, all these different projects that are solving real problems. It's crazy how this works. So liquid loans, those are two most things I'm excited about for liquid loans. I don't know enough about them yet, but
it's the specifics within the system that are tripping me up, because again, I don't know exactly either, but I could look into liquidity more, which I haven't yet, which I will do today, by the way. I already wrote that down. So, but in general, I always wonder, Sam, this is a question for both of you guys, when you collateralize an asset that moves up in price rapidly, this is just for me, this could be a stupid question. Do you have to pay more on the loan?
Do you have to pay more on your house if your house doubled in value over the last 2.5 years?
No, but I just didn't know if there was like some bullshit that I didn't know.
No, it's not. That's a good question. If you're not sure about it, you're like, ask the fucking question, because 100%. Yeah. Now, it changes. Like, if you're borrowing USDL, as in liquid loans, right, you can pay back as a stable, right? If you were borrowing in Hedron, and Hedron does a 10,000x over, say, a period of some portion of time, you borrow, and say you took your Hedron and you utilize that to buy a car or put it into something else, and that other thing went up by 5,000x because it maybe was outside of hex or something along those lines, then what you have is you bought another asset, whether that's a car that goes down in value, or bought something else in your life, or put it into, say, a different type of crypto that didn't have a 10,000x. Then what you have is the nature of like having something underwater. So you hear this in the housing market, right? Where people's house value is here and their debt on their house is actually here. So if they sold their house, they would actually they'd have to pay off this extra debt. Their house is worth $100,000. Their debt is $120,000. And that would be the case with Hedron. So you borrow in Hedron, which could go up in value, meaning in the future, you actually have more money to pay back, right? And there's going to be people who do this. With liquid loans, USDL you're borrowing, so you're going to pay that back, and that's pegged to the dollar with the arbitrage because of that, right? So you could if you're like wanted to pay it back, you could.
Sam, do some of those same problems exist when you're stabilizing two things against each other? That do the same problems exist where with Terra Luna, for example? Obviously, there was way more intricate, centralized stuff going on with Terra Luna. There's companies all over the place, Anchor Protocol. I mean, it's not the same thing at all. But I'm asking you, as somebody who knows intimately about these things, like, damn it, I kind of forgot my question.
Does it the value of the debt go up and down?
Well, no, but I was just talk for a second.
So with
I was going to say, there's a good question in chat too from Orca Crypto Curricula, talking about putting 5x up in money for a loan. I'm not sure if it's that much collateral. What is it? I think it's 150%, or you can adjust.
This one here?
Maybe the one after before that.
I have
it says, sorry, y'all, I'm not putting up 5x money.
Anyway,
see it up there.
Sorry, y'all. I'm not putting up 5x money for a loan. The bank will just give me money cheap, and I don't risk liquidation plus
Sam wants
tax.
to take this one. Looks like
Orca.
Orca, if you want the link, you just give me a bicep in the chat.
I love Orca. He's awesome. He's amazing, right? Very intelligent man and very thoughtful as well. I think him and I agree on this. There's in the video later today, I'm gonna be doing the stuff for fiat loans, crypto loans. There's different types of crypto loans, as we just mentioned. Borrowing something can go up in value, or borrowing something that's stable in value, and that changes the risk profile of all these things. But
if you could do a video explaining that, you'd be a savior.
Yes,
Dude,
I'm gonna do it in depth.
He is the guy. Like, he's the guy. He's great at doing those videos. Sam has made content for roughly 11. Well, I don't even want to say the date, years, because I don't even know. But like thousands and 20,000 plus videos probably all over the internet regarding bodybuilding, pharmacology, biology, everything you could ever imagine. So
that's what people are so scared about with the loans. They don't like. There's, like you said, there's so many different ways to do it. Like, what are the risks? What are the strategies? How does this work? How does liquid loans different? Like, how's the different Terra Luna? How's all this stuff? Like, that's what gets people in this like analysis paralysis. Like, oh, I'm just not going to do it because I don't understand it.
That's what this show is all about doing. Definitely talk to a tax professional. That would be GRC. I'm a professional ass-kicking tax furu killer because I'm trying to figure out. Tax professionals don't know nothing, and all the tax professionals I know tell me to get my crypto shit and move on to someone else. So, like,
you definitely want to understand what you're doing. One of the best piece of advice I could probably give somebody, because this is literally what I do, so I don't want to tell people things to do things that I don't necessarily know, right? Is to learn every day. Like, it's just take some time and try to learn. If you are like, I'm completely clueless about business, write-offs, taxes, all that stuff, then start educating, start the process. And it doesn't matter if you're like, I have no idea what these fuckers are saying. That's perfectly okay. Just start. And if you spend 5 to 10 minutes of like, hey, I'm going to start to learn about taxes and how they work, call 3 of your friends and just have a 15, 20-minute conversation. Be like, hey, Sam, can you talk to me about a little bit about like a business? Or like, how do you do taxes? Or like, what do you do and just then talk to somebody else and talk to somebody else. Read 3 or 4 articles online. There's boatloads of videos on YouTube about all this kind of stuff, and just
find the
continue to
smartest dude
educate
you know
yourself.
and hit the notification button.
That's
on
what people are
their-
trying to do. They don't know the difference between the smart dudes and the dumb dudes. And the
Yeah,
smart
it's
women
very
and the smart
easy.
and
I'll
the
tell
dumb
you
women.
exactly how to do it. I'll tell you exactly how to do it. If they've been on this show twice, they're a smart dude. Because everyone that comes on, I mean, you know, like I hate. All I want to do is be valuable, because when I wake up, I feel depressed if I don't have some value. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's. I mean, wow. Hopefully, you don't have trouble sleeping then too, because then you're thinking the next day about creating value. Like, did I do enough? Like, that can get to you.
Well, just like I think RH.
Sorry, I'm trying to copy that link, but
I think RH kind of mentioned on his stream too, and I think a lot of guys can relate to this. It's like, I don't have kids too, so like if you have kids and stuff, you gotta like deal with all that, little rascals. But like, in general, I get depressed. I've had much more money than I do right now in my life, and I've been way major depressed. And I had like decent habits in my life, like decent, like better than most. So it's like, but now when I have passion as a man, that's when it makes me connect to my masculinity. You know what I mean? Like that's where I feel.
What makes you the most happy? Like what gives you the meaning other than streaming? It sounds like it feels like this. Like,
it's just research.
Scratches that itch too.
So in bodybuilding, I did the same thing. All I wanted to do was know the truth, right? Like I just didn't care. People were like, "Oh, I could have been a popular bodybuilder dude rather than this. It would have been easier to get more followers. I could have, if I hired a producer and just went at it and went really hard, I could have crushed it, I'm sure. But I didn't want to go down another avenue of sellout city, right? So I'm just like, as I move through my life, all I want to do is expose the truth. Like that's my goal, because I'm an independent contractor. There's not a human in this world that can tell me what to do. So I'm the perfect guy to do it, because I have no incentive. I tweeted yesterday, if Hex goes to zero, my life will literally not change. I would just be like, man, what a crazy experience. In 3 days, I would be on to the next thing.
Wow.
So
like
I
a
just want
distinguished
people to know
journalist in a bodybuilder body.
This is purely out of the what makes me want to move in the morning. I can't find anything else. Like at one point in my life, it was women. All I wanted to do was talk to women. And that was normal, right? Everyone was like, oh, normal, you know, it's kind of normal. You're a young man. But I think it's more normal to have a passion and go at it full force, because we're just going to die one day, you know, like it's going to suck when we die and you look back and you're like, I did not give it hell. Like I didn't give it hell. I didn't give it enough when I could have, when I was aware. And deep down, I wish I just stood up for what I believed in instead of bending the knee like everyone else.
And even just like trying as hard as you can, because like every day we have the opportunity to try to push that upper limit of what our potential is. And everybody here, if they're actually honest with themselves, knows that they fall short on that. I don't need to like tell you this. You can look in the mirror and yourself and have the honest conversation. I know I do. And that's what like fires me up to like just try to be a little bit better, to get closer to what I'm capable of, because as we move closer to that upper limit of where we believe our potential is, you realize it's way more than that. And then you get up here and then you realize you're like capable of so much more than that. And it's a perpetual journey along that path. And I don't want to get to the point where I'm going to die and realize that there was so much more potential that I could have achieved and impacted the world and that kind of thing. I just didn't do it.
Yeah.
So what Crypto Games Club actually mentioned, I just want to highlight this because it's really important.
Is he just talking about us not talking about taxes because it could be dangerous?
So when I was like, hey guys, advice is do what I do, right? Like talk to people. But the one piece which I didn't mention, and he said, don't just talk to people. Correct. Don't just talk to people. And that might not even be like 100% accurate about me saying what I do, because I don't just talk to people. I like to go to the source of the information.
Oh, Sam's the best at this. Also, the IRS relies on you to rat on yourself. Basically, it wants you to be a part of the system. So you just think ratting on yourself is normal. It's normal. Give all your
or you're
information.
so scared you'll never try any strategies that are actually legit, but you'll just always.
But if you look at the
taxes
fine print and you're armed with facts, Sam goes to his Accountant probably pisses him off and schools him and tells him like, this is the facts and I need this to work out like this. And he probably has to say like, yep, you're right. But in general,
go to that
you over.
source. You know how we were like, hey, let's understand a project. So we go to the project's website to understand everything that they put on there. You're like, how is Richard Hart thinking about it? Well, let's not just go listen to fucking conjecture from somebody on YouTube or an article. Let's go to Richard Hart, try to understand what he's actually saying. And so if you're trying to get better at business, if you're trying to get better at like taxes and understanding, go to the IRS. I literally do this. And that's just why I was like, damn, I was like, hey, this is what I do. But the thing I do is try to go to the source. So whether it's a tax thing, you can go to the IRS website. You can search for stuff on there. You can read it. You may have to read it a couple of times because it's kind of like reading a medical journal and you don't have any effing idea what it means. So go there, read it a couple of times. Now take that and you can search to try to give you more context and maybe more of a plain English language of that stuff that you just read. Then you can reread that again and then maybe talk to one person. Be like, hey, I was reading about this and this is actually capable of doing this and this and this and the other thing. And try to get that to get a better understanding of like what is actually going on there. And you get better at doing that. And you might just be able to read the stuff and understand it as you do it more and more and more and get on at that point.
There's a lot of different angles. There's a lot of different angles to approach learning and approach curiosity and to get second opinion. I mean, I think contrarianism, like that's something I really value, like not just doing the opposite of what everyone else is doing, but looking to see what everyone else is doing, getting all those opinions and saying, okay, is everyone doing it? Are they missing something? Like, is that actually how it works? Is that the best strategy? And then going from the ground up, being like, okay, you know, first principles thinking, all that stuff gets into it. But I really think Peter Thiel popularized contrarianism a lot in the modern age. And it's just like, hey, I'm going to take the bet that some people are missing something.
It's maybe almost they're missing math, right? You're kind of just ratioing it out in your head because I do this all the time. Like you basically just think about the amount of people. I know a F load of people. I've interacted with so many people in real life. I don't need to ask other people what people are like, period. I know what people are like. I did sales and shit for 8 years straight. I was a public speaker at some point. I know what people are like. So what was my point again, Sam, in the beginning?
I'm sorry, I was reading comments. I apologize. You had a really good point that you were going to come across and drop some stupid alpha, and then I'm reading comments and I missed.
What were we talking about though?
Max had mentioned up the contrarian.
Yeah. You can actually kind of ratio it in your head to know that most people don't know what they're talking about. So if everyone's talking about the same thing, you can almost pin it down as not being true just by definition. If you know enough people and have seen enough people, I know nobody knows about taxes. I know nobody knows about crypto, but I guarantee 10 or 20% of the people I talk to would pretend they do. So it's just like, I think most people don't know what they're talking about. Perfect example, all this racket, right? I'm not a billionaire, dude. I don't know what it's like to be a billionaire, dude. It would be really stupid for me to come on here and just be like, that dude's a moron and everything he says is stupid. Because I don't have enough perspective to know what it's like to be doing business like he's doing. Not saying he's not a crazy mother effer on Twitter. That's clear. But you see how I just cut through what I know? I'm just like, instead of me being like, man, this is what most people would do. He's crazy. He's doing negative business deals. He has to be absolutely evil in all ways. This is how I think about it. I'm like, he probably said some shit he wished he didn't say. He probably did. It's half true, half not true, half he's just pissed off, because that's generally where the truth lies, right?
Observe, think twice. Right. Save you a lot of problems.
But GRC does this without even realizing it, because Max, when we, like GRC and I have known each other for several years, and when we started to connect again, like 65, 70 days ago or something, he was telling me about Hex and used the same contrarian, like what you were just talking about, to be like explaining it to me in terms of like, hey, go to crypto or coinmarketcap.com, look up Hex. Okay, go down here. It says it's 201, right? And the market cap, what does the market cap say? Okay, it says it's, $18 billion. Okay, now go back to page 1 on coinmarketcap.com and go through and see where that what are like the top 10 in terms of their market value. and you're like, okay, well, 21 billion, 17 billion. Well, it should be right. It should be right here, right? And thinking about that, because we talked about it at the beginning of the show when we were diving in that rabbit hole of like Project Veritas, like the truth loves to get censored in this like polarized world of understanding, because it's contrary to like what.
Well, it's beneficial for people not to know. Why do people mislead? Because they're trying to sell you something. It's easier to sell something to people that don't know what the fuck they're talking about. So telling the truth just expands information to the point where people are learning actually, and then they're no longer being marketed to. They're just like independent thinkers, right? Like, why would we want to create an independent thinker? That would be silly, right? It would be counterproductive to business. Like, if you want a business, you don't want free thinkers. Like, I'm sure if there was 1 billion hexagons and none of them were free thinkers, like, the business would be probably pretty lit. And there's most hexagons don't know what the fuck they're talking about, to be honest. Most people don't know what the fuck they're talking about. I don't care if you've been in hex since day one. I know rich ass people that are stupid as fuck, and I know poor ass people that don't care about money that are smart. It's just like, there's people that look into detail and speak with reason and conviction, and there's people that don't trust themselves enough to do that. You want the guys that trust themselves.
If there's 1 billion people in hex, it's probably not a good deal anymore.
Yeah, probably. Hey, if that's 7.5%, my mom would still be on that for sure.
Yeah, but then we would be into something else. There would be something else where we'd be earning 600.
Well, there would be whatever store about, it'll be a store.
We'll be sitting here in 10 years and be like, it's it's got a $100 trillion market cap.
But that'll be us.
Look at the fundamentals, people. Look at the fundamentals.
That'll be us saying that shit. You know what the rest of people will say? That they're still buying Netflix stock.
You think I can get 7% on hex? You think I can?
Yeah. People are going to be begging for hex to be sold on the market. Oh my God. Imagine.
I want to. Well, then it might actually make more sense to just create a new a new pulse chain that just has a copy of it, right? But I want to ask with an X, Max, some questions here.
Hey, chat is out of control. You guys got to tone it down.
I have to close.
What's going on?
It's really entertaining.
Chat, otherwise I miss it.
Guys, hold on. I'm taking control real quick. I'm taking control, guys. What's going on?
There's like all these like inner arguments. It's pretty.
Guys, please, all your penises are small, so stop comparing them. Okay. Stop it. It's entertaining. Only Crypto Games Club has enough penis so he's the only one spitting facts in here. Okay.
Can't talk about Liquidloans anymore.
Yep, me neither. But you know what I can talk about? Mintra.io and the staking feature that I've been really excited about looking into, because I'll just be straight up with everyone. I sacrificed for Mintra because I really like Gerardo and he's a good buddy of mine. And it was like $500, I think. And so I would like to look into it. And I would also look at the staking feature, because in the staking feature, you actually earn pulse. So you can stake your Mintra and earn pulse. Very interesting, because I would love to see the rates and everything, but that's what I just want to clarify. I'm not hating on chat. Please don't turn on me, chat. I'm just saying you guys are entertaining. That's all. Please continue to talk.
We're all family. We're all community of people that are all trying to learn and grow, and everybody has different points of view. That doesn't mean anything other than you're fucking wrong. And
we're all friends. We all love each other. I hate 98% of the people.
Sorry, I did not mean. Please don't peace out. You don't have to.
Oh, no. RH Max. If these guys don't like RH Max, they can get the rips butt out of here, because this dude's spitfire and he has good guests on and he talks in detail and he asks very good questions.
I'm trying not to screw myself.
You can't screw yourself, bro. Trust me. I'm about to put my metrics for my Johnson on my bio to see if I can gain some traction.
I'm gonna create an NFT of mine, but I don't know if like the JPEGs can be big enough for it. So I was like,
I actually like learn from the chat when I'm reading, especially when a good conversation is going on. Like the last few minutes, it's like, okay, those are actually good questions. That's why I wanted to bring them up too.
No, if you see a good question, be like, interrupt us and be like, hey, so and so said this into the chat, and we'll pull it up and talk about it. Max,
sorry.
What are you most excited about right now?
Well, I'll piggyback on GRC a little bit too, because he mentioned Mintra, and I have not been keeping up with Mintra for a little while. But I remember that when the sacrifice came out, people started talking about it. I started reading about it. That was like, okay, I know it kind of coincided with there's another marketplace coming out too. Was there a SAC for a different one too? There's maybe like 2 or 3 different OpenSea
yeah,
type things?
I know all of them. So we had
You want to pull up Mintra at the same time? We can actually.
Yeah, I don't want to pull it up though. Can you pull up Mintra.info?
Yes. Yeah, I'll pull it up. Because that Max is a perfect segue because that was one of the things that GRC wanted to actually talk about.
Nice.
Mintra, what is
Never
it?
skips a leg day in the brain gym.
We could watch this 8-minute video that
Thanks, Bob.
We could watch this 8-minute video that explains the staking function and some of the stuff. Or do you want to just read through it one?
Let's read through it.
Yeah.
I just have to figure out where it is on the actual site.
It's called Mintra.info. That's Mintra.io, I think. RH Max is a fire-breathing dragon. Prove me wrong.
Thanks, Alan. Appreciate it. He's been on a lot of my streams. Yeah, I really appreciate his support as well.
Yeah, dude, you're crushing it, bro. I really hope you keep making videos. I know it's a lot of time, and I don't know anything about your life.
Yeah,
but
it's been an adjustment, but I gotta say, consistency, and you set up a system to make it easy as possible, and you just keep putting it out. That's what I'm trying to do for now.
And if you ever want any suggestions on anything about just the YouTube in general, please just let me know.
Yes, we'll do.
Okay, so scroll up real quick, and let me just look at this. So we're going to talk about this real quick, just from start to bottom. So the people that don't know, this is the first NFT marketplace that is officially being marketed and it's also being marketed as the greenest NFT marketplace, which is cool. I mean, that's good for marketing. So let's talk about it. What is Mint? Mint will be the native token used in the Mintra marketplace. During the sacrifice phase, the tokens have no value and no utility, have no expectations of this token. The average marketplace fee for transactions is 2.5%. Mintra will only have a 2.25% fee for its marketplace. Remember, guys, when we're comparing cryptos, what is a positive externality? These guys are always going to try to beat each other in a way or two. So this is him just explaining why he's a little bit better than the competition. So that's what kind of these numbers are coming out to be. 1.25% of all Mintra marketplace transactions, 55% of fees will be sent to a public address. One shall have no expectations of profit from this address. This address can do whatever it likes. It could use the 1.25% to buy Mint tokens on the open market and burn them, airdrop marketplace fee revenue to Mint token holders. Or, for instance, it could split the fee revenue to airdrop 1% and use 0.25% to buy back Mint and burn it. No matter what the address chooses to do with the 1.25% of the daily value, holding Mint tokens does not guarantee any profit from the work of others. Guys, do we know, for the audience, why do they always mention don't expect profit from the work of others? Because we're dealing assets, securities, guys. The laws are different, so the verbiage is different. But let's get into we'll pull up the numbers again. What do you guys think about what I just read?
I've never really had a positive, I think NFTs, I think of it as a smart contract, but like JPEG, like pictures.
25% of the volume on Ethereum is NFTs.
I think that it's like a gateway drug to adoption, right? It's like the weed for like, at least how people used to think the weed was like gateway drug to like other types of drugs. NFTs are that, so to speak, right? For crypto.
Weed is the gateway drug for investing in weed companies, right? That's how.
and this is it's creating adoption, right? Like little kids are like learning about NFTs, and then they're learning about the NFT, and then they learn about crypto, right? So I think it's valuable there, but I don't know enough about it to like truly understand. But that could be very interesting to have that much of the fees going. If we don't know what that thing is going to do, but if it follows through on any of those things that it's mentioning, that could be pretty interesting. OpenSea has like close to like $90 million worth of transactional volume on a daily basis times 2.5%, and then half of that going to an address that could do things in a positive light for the Mint token. That's kind of exciting. That's kind of good.
Yeah, I think the biggest interesting thing about the NFT marketplaces on Pulse is that, well, Richard even said before that what he said, even the OpenSea clone is within the realm. Like he's talked about doing that too. So how many is there going to be? The competition is what So even besides the fundamentals of Mintra and things like that, the competition of which marketplace is going to win, are people going to segment towards one or the other? Is Richard going to make one himself? Those are like these kind of unknown factors right now too. But as far as the fees go, and as far as the flirtatious language of, oh, we're going to do some buyback stuff, perhaps, that's interesting. I mean, that's definitely a supplemental. That's definitely something that make price go up, as far as, technically sound. And it seems like the person behind it, Geraldo, it seems like he knows what's he studied his fundamentals book. It seems like too.
Well,
so,
we all know
That's
Gerardo.
such a
We all know Gerardo, right? And when this is just from like a social perspective, I would say he's a smart kid. He likes people to think he's smart, and he is very absolutely intelligent. And he also cares a lot about his reputation. And he also knows intimately the pumpamentals of Hex. He knows intimately the pumpamentals of these things. So extrapolating that to his project was probably just smooth as silk. You know what I mean? Like, because he's intimately familiar with the incentivization protocol. I mean, structure.
Max.
maybe like one or two showers, and then he came up with the idea after listening to Richard for years, probably.
Oh, I guarantee he already like backloaded the whole thing. Was probably like learning as he went, and then when Pulse Chain came out, it was the opportunity, right? It's like because Ethereum. Let's be honest, guys. Ethereum, really, guys. We're outpriced when it comes to NFTs.
Yeah, the prices are crazy for NFTs on Ethereum. But that's the beautiful thing about people who get it. People who listen to Richard and they understand what he's about and all these magic ideas and all these like genius type things, they can take those and make other products with them. So if you understand that, like when you get it, like you're in the 1% of people who pump a middle. Like it's crazy to like understand that just at an intellectual level.
People gave me a lot of shit when I quit my job, right? Because they were like, the number one rule in the Fight Club is that you don't quit your job because you need the golden goose. But I told everyone, I looked them in the face and I said, my situation's different. I promise you. I am single. I don't have bills. I mean, I have like my bills, but I have enough residual income to basically cover my bills completely. So I don't have responsibilities. My house is very cheap and I have renters upstairs. It's like I have very little bills, but people didn't understand this, but I'm always talking about those value ratios. Like, where should I put my time, right? Because me, my time is everything to me. So it's like, I knew I was working so hard and I was making like $1,700, $1,300 a week. I was grinding and I was like, there's too much potential energy here. There's airdrops going on every single day that I don't even know about. There's projects that only 1% of the population understand the intimate detail. I mean, 1% of the small crypto population understands the intimate details of. So I knew if I just threw myself completely in front of this information, that I would be in a better situation than I was making the $1,800 a week at an extrapolated rate. If you know what I mean.
100%.
I just imagine you were like in this Versace commercial. You got this nice suit and tie, and you're in.
I was a blue collar construction worker.
No, but like, okay, this is going to like a Hex deal. So like, you come in and people know you before. They say, "Oh man, yeah, I own the club. Okay, how'd you do it?" Hex.com.
Well, they all know it. Hey, they all know it around me. There's not a person within 2 miles of my house that hasn't heard me roar about Hex.com in one way or the other, or their sons or someone in the street. Because this time last year, I could not stop running my mouth about Hex until it bit me in the butt and I stopped doing it because I started talking to too many people about Hex, and then some people lost money, and I realized the rate of people's retardation is way too parabolic.
Well, it can go both ways.
They can't understand.
People can be too smart to get it too. They can think, "Oh, I know a scam when I see it," and they automatically, nope, never getting that, never touching that. Or they can be into finance and they can look at crypto as this like gambling thing, and they just don't want to touch it because no, I don't want to touch it. You can tell them over and over and over, nope, I'm good.
People do you know that are so financially free that they don't like? Do you have any people in your life that were like very successful financially that you like saw quite often, or was it generally just classic?
There was, I will say, I try to think sometimes what rubbed off on me as far as other than the reading and studying and listening the last few years, just get in that mindset. But I remember as a kid, there was a rich lawyer in town. I came from a small town, and he used to walk around, and I had a job in retail, and he would come in and just have this stack of hundreds. and he would pay for stuff. It'd be like, $11.99. He'd pay for it, give me a $100 bill. And I always thought, man, rich people are cool. Like, I want to be like that one day. Like, I don't know why people hate rich people. It's insane to me. Like I don't get it. I've always looked up to people like that.
They're just value machines, because everything they touch has economic mass that can be put into it and then project it, right? But everyone else is just like, I hope everything goes well, and I pray for everyone in Haiti, but I'll be broke until I'm dead, and I'll work.
Society tells you the story. What are the articles that come out? That's that Jeff Bezos makes this much per second, or Warren Buffett is this, or Elon Musk is that, in terms of not paying taxes or making money because they're trying to garner attention, right? So they teach society, they teach the gullible, they teach the people who watch that and listen to and all that garbage.
Do you think it's the media that has a big influence,
and
especially these days?
Yeah, well, I think the system's broken, right? I think this is you're here, not somewhere else, because we understand that shit's garbage. Like, I haven't had a TV since 2009. Like, remember, 2009 was a long effing time ago. I haven't had a TV since 2009. Like, the world was a completely different place in 2009. The internet, not like what it is, and I knew television was trash. And I was like, I don't need a TV. Never gonna own one again. And boom, not gonna happen.
Yeah.
But the media teaches society that rich people are bad, to your point, saying that rich people are actually bad. But
so they're taking something from you. That's the point. They're rich because they took it from you. That's what people internalize, and they just breed that hate on.
But when you talk to, not everybody, but a lot of people who have money, a lot of people who are successful in business, the more you talk to them, at least the more that I talk to them, there's some people that are maybe a little rotten around the edges and stuff, right? But a lot of them, once you understand the idea of business, is you just need to provide value. That's it. It's not like some super complex thing that you need to do all these weird shit and know all this. The idea of business is providing value to the society, to your market, to your customers, to your employees, period.
You get rewarded for providing value to society. There you go.
Right? Isn't that what capitalism is, so to speak?
Yeah.
Provide value, right? The product is this, the service is this, and this has this price. The value to the customer has to be higher than that, or they're not going to buy it. Period. Pretty simple. The value has to be above your price, otherwise you're not going to have any customers. If it's down here, you're like, that's a bad deal. That's a bad deal. That's a bad deal, right? This has to be up here. So you have to be able to figure out how to continue to increase that value in order to be able to grow your business.
So that's the difference between that and a scam too. A scam is, it does exactly the same thing, except it doesn't provide the value. And there's different shades in between. There's different, it could be a scam in 1 year. It could be a scam in 5 years. At what point is it not a scam anymore? Or at what point is it always a scam? Like, that's the crazy thing that's hard to determine when you look at different stuff too. You could say, the US dollar is a Ponzi. You could say, whatever real estate's a Ponzi. You could say all these things are what time scale?
What does it come back to? Always. It always comes back to social consensus. Always. This is not about, it's about social consensus. It's about the masses. It's about what they understand and think about. It's not about the details. People don't know the details. They just want to be told what to do. And we have to become powerful enough as a group where because we're projecting a positive message, so we can scream it as loud as we'd like. If we were saying, join my paid group and get wrecked, I would be a little bit like, hey, join my paid group and get wrecked. You know what I mean? But like, I'm like, fuck you guys. I don't have anything to do here. Screw you. This is the truth. You guys are dumb. And I'll tell you exactly why. And then they can either go home and decide that they want to continue to be dumb, which most do, and they just don't care. There's ignorance is bliss. That's fine. Or they come to the dark side. They learn about truth, and they have positive impact on the world rather than becoming the problem.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about this morning when I was doing some study. Part of my routine is there's two reasons that people will do something or buy something or whatever. Either they do the work themselves, they do the study, they put the time and the energy into it, and they deeply understand it, so then they buy in, or they listen to someone who they see as successful, who has already done the work and time and energy, and they have the courage and faith to believe in that person, and then they get in. That's the two primary ways I see people. I relate that back to Hex. Either people need to deeply understand how it works, and then they get that aha, this is for me, or they see someone who's been successful with it, or they believe in, they look up to, they follow them in some way, and then they get into it. One's a little bit more shallow, one's a little bit more deep, but either way, that's how people buy stuff.
Yes, it's interesting because the dark side, so to speak, the people who tend to be awake, the people who tend to like to think for themselves and use the functioning gray matter that they have, those people have been quiet, right? Because there's always been that gateway to be able to get your voice out called the media. And now we're able to have this here, and we can be as loud as we want. And that's why they're scared. That's why we see so much censorship happening, because the truth is leaking out, and it's a glorious time. It is a glorious time because you've had these like silos, right? You know those old silos? It's like this, where they had grain in them and farms and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, those silos.
I don't want to live in one. I want to like build a house out of one. They look really.
Yeah, you have like 12 layers.
Yeah, I have like 12 floors.
Well, you have like, from metaphor standpoint, you have silos of information in the world, right? Like say New York City, right? You could think of it as like a silo for the cutting edge of finance type stuff, right? And then you have Silicon Valley and parts of California for tech startups, right? And there's an abundance of this certain type of information that is collectively known in that arena, right? And there's different silos for different things, right? Like maybe in the Midwest, there's for how to run a farm more successfully, or whatever the case is. And with the internet, with blogs, with YouTube videos, with Instagram and Twitter, and how the internet has evolved so far, those silos of information are now spreading across the planet. Also, you have silos because there's a home bias. If you look at psychology from an investing standpoint, there's definitely a home bias. People invest in things that they like are close to physically. Well, you have silos, say, with the United States versus any other country, and back and forth. And all of these things are breaking down. So you have these big silos that are spreading all this information across the planet. We're at a time right now where people's like points of view that used to be able to just say what it is and nobody could say anything, but now they're getting called out, and you have this proliferation of ideas and points of view that is growing so quickly. Such a beautiful time. Super excited.
Do you guys want to move on to some of these? You can finish your thought for sure.
I had a question just for you two real quick.
Sure.
Speaking of media point, do you think Richard is going to, every billionaire owns a newspaper, right? Do you think Richard is going to have a StreamYard or have a Twitter, have some kind of media
I think
outlet?
Richard will do whatever he has to do to make this work, and he'll do no more, no less. He only has so much potential energy. We all know that. He's a human being. He has flaws. He knows if there's something that will make this bump and it's limited amount of energy for him, he will do it. At least a normal amount of energy, right? Like not like some ridiculous, stupid. He likes doing things efficiently. The only reason he likes to talk about his Peter is because it makes more people follow him, and he thinks it's faster for him. That's his method. I'm not saying that method works, but clearly that's what he wants. So he will do probably what it takes under he won't sell out his personality, but to put himself in the best position with his time and resources, because there's nothing else he wants other than total domination of the world.
Did anyone else get the joke, the 6.3? Why it's 6.3? Why that number?
For what?
PP.
Oh, no, because it's the
6.3. Remember, everything is 3s, 6s, 9s.
Son of a bitch.
You heard it here.
369.
It could be accurate. It could be accurate, but I just thought, 6.3. Of course, he's going to.
Well, he was talking about circumference.
He's not going to say 3.6.
Whatever. All I'm saying, I know all that's crazy Fibonacci penis in parabolic, but I'm saying I think that he would like to add anything to the mix within his power and resources while not taking any securities laws into play to do whatever he could do within reason.
in regards to what Max kind of slightly implied, I think that would be a very interesting idea, right? To own the narrative, because when you think about, say, Jeff Bezos owning Washington Post or Google owning YouTube and Twitter and all these other things are owned by different people, right? If you can go through and create the narrative, we talked about, the fake news and all this other stuff, but if you can go through and actually create the narrative, that's a super interesting thing to think about. One thing that I do think could help his brand and ecosystem tremendously is spending. I know he's mentioned that he doesn't want to spend money to grow his brand. I think that's a foolish thing personally.
Is it that he doesn't want to, or is that you're not really allowed to?
You're not allowed to grow your brand?
I don't know.
He can hire a personal assistant and stuff like that. I think it's mostly what he needs is someone to take care of the little things.
But why would he not? He would already have that if he wanted it.
But you can grow some. Did you know who the number one buyer of Google ads were when they were stupid, ridiculously underpriced was?
Huh.
Amazon. How did that work out for them?
Oh God.
Are they not just a bookstore?
And then now they're $2 trillion market cap, right?
So say your point again in a little bit more detailed sense, so I can get back, because I forgot what we were talking about, but it sounds spot on. But like
advertising.
So what do you think we could do if you were going to give a constructive criticism right here, or maybe a constructive thought, or something you would like to do or have the opportunity to do? What would it be?
It would be two pieces here. It seems to be that the diet is an opportunity that he recognizes. I would hire a fucking chef and get them aligned with your goals and your objective, and let them do their thing that they're fucking amazing at, so that your problem solved. Okay, you solve your problem. Now, from a growing the brand standpoint, I would either hire somebody that is super competent to do it, but you don't need to grow Hacks. You need to grow yourself. Because if you grow yourself, Hacks automatically grows, because that's what you're talking about. You want to grow Paul's Hacks? Figure out whether it's different types of things for your personal brand, Richard Hart. Think about growing that and paying to grow that, because there's an amplification effect from this. We've seen this happen with giant companies, right? Like when Google ads were 5 cents or 2 cents or 7 cents to get 1,000 people to check out your shit. Who saw that opportunity? It was Amazon. They were paying to do this. There's a ridiculous.
For some reason, you're not supposed to do crypto ads. I've heard.
You don't run crypto ads. We're not talking about crypto ads.
All right, well, tell us what ads look like.
You run an ad for yourself. You can pay people. You can pay Google. You can give money to
Did you
Google.
see that he mentioned on his stream that he tried to get? I know this was a separate company and not the same.
Do you know how many people have tried to make money with Facebook ads and failed?
How many?
So when a shitload, because
I don't know.
a tool.
You don't know that stat?
A tool. Well, it's actually 3.6.
Sam's like, is this
3.69? 3.69. No, but
sorry, you and Elon. He gave you some sort of chip.
you have to. If I gave you a set of tools to build something that you've never built before, don't know how to build, and don't know how to use the tools, are those tools going to be useful to you? No, right? So you know how many times you can try advertising and fail because you don't know what you're doing, right? And I'm not saying that is the case. But there's so many different ways to grow your brand, and we're not talking about crypto ads. Think about growing Richard Hart on Twitter. You can give money to Twitter to grow yourself on there.
That's a good point as far as a lot of people
course and still sucked at FBook ads. So let's say I wanted, okay, Sam, let's talk smaller scale real quick so I can understand, because again, once it gets bigger, I get a little confused. So smaller scale, right? Let's say I wanted to grow my brand, just Jim Rat Crypto. Like I just wanted more. What would it maybe something that you could suggest for me? And I'm not saying I'm going to do this. I really don't even care at this moment, but I just want to know like the specifics. What would be something I could do, like when it comes to ads? I don't really understand ads as far as like pop up, but like, are you just popping it up in front of as many people as possible? Is that kind of
one of the things that I'm going to do, and that I think about slightly differently than other people? So I made a bad deal last year and lost money, right? And that's why I don't have any money today, basically. And I'm getting through that myself. Now, as soon as I'm through that, I'm going to be paying these platforms money to just literally put me up there for people to see. Because one of the things that a lot of people in internet marketing do is they want that conversion, right? So you're going to be like, there's 10,000 people you show this shit to, you have, 4, 8, 16% of people click on it, and then you have 10% of those people who actually go through and purchase something. Okay, cool. Well, what people don't realize is that the actual impression, if you see my face 10,000 times, even if you've never once clicked on it, that is valuable because now my beautiful face is in your fucking mind. And I don't care. I don't care about the rest of it. If I can just pay. So if I was like, hey, Richard Hart, try this, right? On YouTube and on Instagram and on Twitter, just give them money to drive traffic to your site. So this does two different things, right? So you get all the impressions of just more people understanding who your face is. Because then as they talk about people in crypto, as the community grows, as we flow up this S curve that is happening in crypto, and we get to 50% of the world population, then 80%, then 100% of people in the world who own crypto, that face is going to be out there in the public from this, period. And the ads are cheaper because you're not trying to do conversion ads. You're just trying to grow your profile. So as soon as I get this shit together for myself, I'm going to be putting a lot more money into crypto, but I'm also going to be putting money into ads to just grow my brand. Because I don't need to grow. I get the other stuff that I have.
I took a course once. And guys, anyone who knows about me knows that I've taken more paid courses than you could ever imagine. Literally, probably working on 40, but again, this was all throughout the years. One of these in particular was about social media. And it was when I was trying to date. I didn't care about getting verified or business at the time, but a lot of the guys in the group did. So I heard all this shit. Right. And they were actually getting each other. Hear me out. And you probably heard this before. They get each other. A lot of them have 10, 20, 30, 40,000 followers. They get each other to write articles about each other and get them published. So it's like they do this circle thing. It's like this is how you do it, guys. I'll tell you. And I'm going to drop some alpha real quick, some crazy. I don't even know if I should do this on stream because I have to bring people up specifically.
It's a giant circle.
Last time I did this, I got death threats on Telegram, so I'm probably not going to do it again. So what I'm saying is these guys, it's just like on TikTok Live's a perfect example.
Hey, leave the Saudis out of this.
You get 10 of your friends that all have 100,000 followers, and you all just promote each other in a big circle jerk. And then you're all just magnifying each other, and they do it as it's almost like but people don't know that they're actually working together. They're working together. They're in business together. Rollo Tomasi, all those guys in the red pill industry that are independent, they all work together. I've taken all their paid courses.
Do you know how many
all work together?
People, there's independent writers and contract writers and freelance writers that work for different organizations, whether it's news, and we think of news as the mainstream that have the PR brand in our minds, but there's so many other websites that have news, right, related to things that are important that you can pay to talk about something in terms of a certain story, whatever it is, and just to continue to try this. And you try these things in different ways to grow the brand, because then it's going to be helpful into the future.
Well, just to your point on Richard too, I just want to hit on that. It's for growing his brand. A lot of people in the early days, they only knew about Hex because of Richard. But now when I hear people, they say they found out about Hex first and then they found out about Richard. So I think that should be reversed, actually. I think promoting himself, getting his face out there in more positive light, owning a media company, perhaps making it where you see Richard and you trust the founder, and then you get into Hex. I think that's more effective. So I hope that trend reverses.
I think it's more effective, but I think it's at some point not the amount of money, but the amount of mass that comes in will be people that generally don't know shit about it. Just like Bitcoin, I think a lot of, I would assume that a lot of the people that have Bitcoin, not the economic mass, but the actual accounts per user, would have no general specific idea about RH, any of his intimate ideas, because I just know people, they don't do that. They don't learn that.
Well, so when they get hit with the scam stuff, though, then they think, "Oh shit, who is this guy?"
True.
And then they go look him up.
True.
So I think that being cyclical could
But
be
we're all
effective for
getting
Hex in
scammed every
particular.
day, and people don't want to, because the way that you project a scam is it's all, again, social consensus. The way that a scam comes across, I know everyone in my life is getting scammed, but they think they're getting the best deal ever.
Well, you start with crypto, risky. Okay, you get into Hex. Okay, this seems okay. Then you see Founder has a bunch of scam stuff that people are saying, and then you think crypto risky. Oh, I'm out. Sell it. Get into Doge. Get into something. Get into something else. So that's the hard part of, like, Richard has this love and hate relationship with the media in general. So as soon as people are already fragile by crypto, so as soon as they see something that doesn't look so great, they think, oh, I'm Audi 5,000, my friends.
But I like to look at things like when I'm thinking about, I'm like, is there like another realm of society where this thing works, right? And if you look at the big brands, they're successful because they have awesome shit that people want to talk about, right? So Richard Hart's already created awesome shit that people want to talk about. Cool, you got that covered.
Nike
and
shoes.
Then what?
Nike
What's
shoes.
That?
You don't say I have a pair of shoes. You say I have Nike shoes.
Tesla, right? Like Apple, right?
No matter which car, you're cool because you own a Tesla, right?
Correct. Now he's already done that, right? What are these? What does Apple do? Spend a boatload of money on marketing. Richard Hart is very intelligent in his arena, right? And so whether he promotes a lot of stuff around security, right? There's probably 10,000 blog type sites out there related to security in crypto and this type of thing. And being that there's a 10-year plus journey of experience that somebody's learned, right? Like Richard Hart's learned in there. Now, creating a list of the top 100 and then hiring somebody to systematically reach out. Hey, you want me to talk about this in security? Don't bring up your shit. Nobody cares about your shit. They want to talk about what's important to them, right? Don't bring up your shit. If you're interesting enough to provide value to that segment of their audience, they will check you out, right? So you find the top 100 sites that are related to security. It's something that's very important to Richard Hart, who probably has a much more intimate understanding of that. And you reach out to the top 100, get them to be able to do an article with you, an interview with you, and don't talk about any of your shit. Just talk about the security thing that's happening at that moment in time, because you're going to steal the audience from them. You're like, oh man, this guy's really intelligent. Let me check out what he does.
Yeah.
Don't talk about your shit, right? People are going to do that, and then that's security. So then you could do the exact same thing with founders of projects. So then there's founder websites and blogs and podcasts. Okay, cool. Let's pull up a top 100 on YouTube videos, YouTube channels that talk about founders and talk about founder related issues and building a company and running a company. We got a list on 100 on YouTube. Let's take the 100 on YouTube. Let's reach out every single one to see if we can get into. So like you can pay as in directly paying onto Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, right? You can also go through, pay a person to create these lists of 100 and just reaching out, basically what they're doing. 100 people on YouTube in terms of the YouTube channels related to founders, 100 YouTube channels related to crypto security specifically, 100 YouTube channels related specifically to watches, right? The things that the cars, right? And then you've got all these lists, and you can do this per platform, right? So you have 5 or 6 different segments on each and every single platform with 100 people in every single one of those lists. And you have somebody systematically, you don't need to do it, hire somebody. If you've got that much money, just hire somebody to do it. And they're literally going through and reaching out to these people to get you the attention. So you're still paying, you're investing in your brand to grow your brand, and just talk about their shit, whatever it is that they want.
But think about what RH has done. Let's think about it literally, right? There's guys like me coming out and quitting their jobs and giving full force bat out of hell energy to Hex 24/7. Like, in what other world? In what other thing? Nobody's paying me to do this. No one. I don't even give a fuck, because I understand the value proposition of the T-share pretty much. I mean, as far as what's out right now, because that's really what we're talking about, right? What did he create?
Scarcity. I mean,
yeah.
If you understand scarcity, you got it.
And I just wanted to, RH has created, when he always talks about grassroots, right? And there's a difference between playing the same game everyone else plays and bypassing all of them. It's like I did that in a way too. It's like, how did I get into the Hex community, right? Wasn't with money, wasn't with knowledge, wasn't with jack shit. It was just with honesty. And now a lot of people like me, right? A lot of people like me. More people like me than guys that have 100,000 followers, because I'm 100% honest. And I fed off. I've always been like that, but I fed off of Richard's energy doing the same. It gave me extra energy, to be honest, because I was like, yeah, the guy who leads this shit's real honest too. Fuck yeah, me too. Because I love that shit.
Authenticity.
But if he
You
was
can't
just
buy
like
it.
somebody who didn't speak controversially, I might just keep it to crypto, you know?
Being authentic. Nobody can be you as good as you can be you. So
Yeah,
and with that,
yesterday Richard mentioned that there
I
are
gotta take
paid
off,
drafts.
guys. Bye.
Oh, you got to go? Hey, dude,
Yeah.
thank you so much for coming on. Everyone,
Of
I'm going to
course.
pin your stuff to the bottom. You're the man. We're waiting for that video later with – you said you were going on later with or Jesse at some
Jesse
point?
from Liquidloans next week, but I got a couple other guests coming up this week. And actually RG3 is coming up next week as well. So yeah, next week is packed, super packed. So yeah, please sub. You're going to get a lot of content coming up, and it seems like people are liking the content. So you're going to get a lot of content you like. So there you go.
Hell yeah, man. Appreciate it. Nice to meet you, Max.
Hey,
if
you
ever
too.
need help, if you ever need help with anything, or I can help answer any questions or make a connection, feel free to reach out, man.
Yeah. Well, hey, check your DMs. You got one waiting.
That's true.
Don't remind me.
Hey.
Damn, you got 5, 10, 15 more minutes?
Yes.
Hey,
And then I
thanks,
got to wrap
Jersey.
up.
See you guys.
Peace
Hey,
out,
have
Max.
a good one, man. Sweet. So, wow.
Got into a lot of marketing stuff today.
Well, that's what I was on the phone with a guy before this trying to figure out how to get verified as fast as possible. And so I will be trying to, that'll be one of my next goals that I'll be kind of showing people how I do that.
You can,
Because
there's
it's not
there's
difficult.
a guy who can,
It's not hard. You just have to do it.
you can pay people to write articles about you.
It's not even that. You don't even need to go that far. That's just for popularity. Like, you don't even need to go that far.
No. Once you have an article in a reputable news magazine, right, according to the old way of thinking, you can take that and use that to get them to verify you. Like I can introduce you to a buddy that can help you with that. If
Trezor, I asked Papa to come on here, Trezor versus Ledger, and he said yes, but we lost touch. Papa, if you're watching this, we still want to do the Trezor versus Ledger. I'll tell you a couple of the episodes that we got coming up on Friday. Bullish, are you in here? If you're in here, pop on. But if you're not, obviously just. You want to talk about Friday yet, or should I not?
No, go ahead. Yeah, confirm Friday. We got a DeFi Proof coming on. We're gonna talk about some of his background, how he came up in Hex, what inspired him to make the song and stuff like that.
So DeFi Proof, for people that don't know, he's the guy he's that guy. So he's the one who did that. Bought my Hex from the start.
Yep. He also has a bunch of unreleased songs and a specific pulse chain song that is very, very, very fire.
Dude, you heard it. I'm not gonna say it, but really quick. You heard it here first. Unreleased pulse chain song. Unreleased pulse chain song. Unreleased pulse chain song.
I already spoke to him about a snippet. It seems like we might get that on Friday, so it's gonna be good. We have a Hedron. We just have to put that on the calendar, and we also have Ashley Ash that we have to put on the calendar. But yeah. Those three are confirmed pretty much.
And we have Alex from Hedron coming on at some point. I gotta get with him still and message him.
Yeah, those two. We just gotta confirm the dates. And
I'm trying to get Hurricash versus John McCoy live head-to-head showdown, security bash. Hurricash versus John McCoy. If you haven't seen John throwing his stuff around, peacocking all over line, you haven't been on Twitter, because the guy, he's ruthless. And I love it, and I want to know more about security. When someone has strong conviction about something, I want to dig a little deeper. So we're going to do a little clash there, and then I'm going to try to –
Gerardo's probably going to come on at some point, too.
Gerardo, I don't even want to bank on the Gerardo. I've done a couple episodes with Gerardo already, and he's a busy guy, and he sleeps in a little bit, I think. So, like, most of his busyness is at night. So if we can do a night episode and he wants to come on, I think – DeFi Proof has a great bio.
Yeah, so we're gonna focus on that. That's pretty much gonna be the focus of the show when we have him on Friday, and then we'll get into some other crypto related stuff.
We're gonna push DeFi Proof. We're gonna make DeFi Proof because I didn't really know much about DeFi Proof, and I thought that was a problem. I was like, this guy's cool. He's got a cool look. His song's absolute fuego. He's a Hexican. Get him on here so we can make DeFi proof, just like at least within the Hexican community. I'm sure he's popping off doing his own shit. But like, I want that song's incredible. The Pulse Chain song, even better, guys. Even better. If you could imagine a better song, he created one about Pulse Chain. It's going to be absolutely fuego. Sam, what you got any questions for me or the audience or anything about what's going on? Anything you want to say about crypto?
The conversation around marketing is also inspiring me to be better at what I need to be at better at. So I appreciate the back and forth in the conversation and that. Also, Crypto Games Club, the pegging to the B share with Hedron, fascinating. I'm glad that was brought up because I was like, oh, fuck. Absolutely right. I need to dive into that. Probably do a separate video on my channel. Link down below if you guys want to check it out.
And if you want to be a Hedron whale, remember, it's pennies on the dollar right now for a max length 50 T-share daily payout. Like this, basically this richest guys I know in Hex. You could still compete with them if you put. And I'm not saying to buy fucking Hedron. I certainly am not really. I mean, I've bought a little bit here and there, but just understand, like, you want to just research stuff. You want to do your own research. You want to understand that this is a derivative play. These things move together. They'll be traded within each other at some extent, right, Sam?
There's a positive correlation, right? Like I ran the numbers yesterday. There is a positive correlation between, you would think there would be, right? Between Hedron and Hex. So like I would probably say if you
but wouldn't it be hedging towards the downside because of the immediate sell pressure from the people that never looked into it? I feel like maybe right now this is the people that deserve it because you know what I mean, Sam? Maybe they are the ones that are actually paying attention. And, you know, guys are going to get free coins. They'll be in the middle. But who's going to be the whale? Who's going to be – people want that spot for sure.
That's me.
That's Bullish. Bullish is the premier Hedron whale. And he's going to dump on
I've been DCing since the launch.
At one penny, he's going to dump on
since
all
the launch. I've been DCing.
Did you hear that? He's been DCing since the launch.
Oh, I know.
That's just got like 5 fucking zeros. So he's got like
I talk to him a lot, and I know that. So like, I just talk.
I love my Hedron bag. I love my Hedron bag.
No, I'm kidding. But yeah, so we're really excited about Hedron, guys. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm just going to say how I feel. I'm really excited about Hedron. You know how I feel about the Maxi Premium, Sam. If you don't mind going to Deck Screener right now and just pulling that up, because I haven't looked at it at all today. Guys, I made a lot of money on Maxi, period. I guess I didn't sell anything, so technically I didn't make anything, but you know what I mean. We're in a bull market. I mean, we're in a bear market, and I just did 100x on a 1-for-1 mint. It's like, what? 100%, 100%, not 100x.
I just pulled that up, so I'm not sure how to get these off of here.
So who cares? We'll just want to look at the price.
It looks so sloppy though, with all these trash.
Well, what were you playing with it?
I was playing with it. I didn't know what I was doing.
You don't want to embarrass yourself because you know people watch this stream and they're gonna know what you do with your doodles.
Well, I this is a Bollinger Bands, which is just basically a measure of like.
So when you click on the Bollinger Bands, that's what comes up, probably.
Yeah, but I don't know how to remove this.
If you go up right where Maxi Hex below volume, where it says BB, upper left.
Upper left.
Right there, yeah. You can hide it there. Click on the.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Hide that. Okay, perfect. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, look at this. Look at this chart. Look at this chart, dude. This is pretty great. So this is during that beginning phase right here where there was minting 1-for-1. And
3 days before it closed, me and Sam were literally all day, every day, sitting here geeking out about this premium that was about to occur. We weren't 100% sure, but I mean, come on, guys, plug the numbers. Can we talk about the numbers real quick? We knew that there was more value in a Maxi token than a Hex token. Because why? There's more positive externalities, period.
Correct. Yes. You have all these extra pieces that are stacked into one. You have the maxed out bigger pays better. You have the maxed out longer pays better. You have the Hedron 4x bonus, right? We talked about Hedron a lot today. You have the liquidity premium, which I don't think is necessarily priced in there properly, but when you don't have liquidity, people will pay a premium for liquidity. And a hex stake, meaning it's locked up, like you have cash there, but it's locked up. You can't really touch it. So it's not really like super valuable to you, right? Mentally, maybe it's valuable because you feel better, right? But this allows you to actually trade in there. And that premium on there, I think might be actually underpriced right now.
Underpriced. We'll be at 2x before you know it. GRC is calling that for sure. It'll be a double the price of hex, in my opinion, at a minimum at some point, because it's just going to be the growth. It's just people don't understand how there's not that much of it.
Yeah, there's not that much of it. But Dipcatcher, I think on Twitter or somewhere else, was saying, who's Dipcatcher, for those who are not aware, is the person behind the DAO that put this together, right? The Maximus DAO. That there's potentially something that's in the works to stake your maxi. I saw something where he was talking about that. That could be pretty intense. Think about like being able to stake your maxi as well. That could be pretty intense. I don't know. I'm excited. I'm excited to see if another one of these comes out. GRC, if another one of these comes out, say next year, another type of maxi.
Another one next year, Sam, just keep your pants on, bro. In 3 weeks, there's going to be another one of these. And for sure, guys, it's already being built. There's people that have already built this. Let's be clear. Dipcatcher actually grabbed his home run bat. He went into his closet, grabbed his home run bat, and cracked the whole Hex community across the head with absolute freaking master honesty, transparency the whole entire time. He was coding the thing live half the time. Okay, that's awesome. And he showed us the financial incentive. He said, Sam, you don't have to pay the ETH fee. He said, Sam, we're going to cover that. So he told us, I didn't make any money off this project. Me and Bullish were in the back with him saying, why didn't you make any money off this project, dude? You know what I mean? Like, people can say whatever they want, but in the green room, the talk's going to be a little bit more like that, right? I'm going to say maybe a 1% would have been, but he was so passionate, right? Like, and, I'm sure he's fortunate within the community and his stuff. I'm just assuming. I have no idea. But it was awesome. The transparency, the clear nature of the project. It was so simple. Sam, imagine creating value from something so simple. A 1-for-1 mint phase, period.
Yeah. Bro, this is a super exciting time. There's so much opportunity. And then I get excited talking about, because we got Hedron, we got Maxi, we got Hex, and then you're getting a free copy of all that shit. And that just presents arbitrage opportunities, which I think is exciting.
And as we walk around all the plebeians in the world, I feel as if I'm floating. I feel as if I'm above the ground, not walking. I'm just like, why me, God? Why give me such an open mind? Because at the end of the day, that's what it is. It's like I'm very open-minded. When I dove into this, I just like looked at the facts, and once I saw the facts, it was just like the price chart. I was like, price chart's pretty good. This dude's not scamming anyone. Okay, like you figured it out. But it's your ego, it's your bias, it's that closed-mindedness that holds people back, because they know they're selling their self bullshit, but they just don't care.
Yes. That's why we need more people awake to what reality is going on.
Hex and Pulse Chain will wake up the entire globe.
Real quick, and then I gotta run. Real quick. I think there's gonna be a delay, and I'm excited about the delay. If you paid attention to the way Richard Hart was actually talking about fixing, like, hey, if I'm creating a product, right? Say I'm creating a product, and I know there's an issue with the product. Should I just release the product as it is and then fix it as I move along, or actually I should just fix it now before I release it to the public, right? And that is what he was talking about. And then you hear that guy who was like getting all pissy on fucking Twitter, right? And you would assume that that dude probably has information and insight that we don't have, right? Because of just he lives a different life than we do.
Mm-hmm.
And when you put that into context, right, he probably has inside information or access to Richard Hart that we don't have,
Mm-hmm.
or something, or close enough ties with the 6 degrees is actually probably closer for him.
Yep.
And he probably is aware that there's going to be a delay, and then like through the grapevine of his connections and whatnot. And then Richard Hart highlighted again yesterday in his video that, hey, I want this thing to be fucking dope. If it's going to be another 2 or 3 weeks to make this thing even better and take care of the issues beforehand instead of trying to fix a plane while the plane is actually flying, I think that's a good strategy. If it is a delay, that'd be fantastic.
I think the reason people get upset, and we'll just call a spade, is because, Richard does get everyone excited when he talks about the Pulse launch. But I mean, we all know Richard uses his words very, very, very carefully before he speaks. And generally, if you look back at anything he says, it's pretty spot on as far as like, I'm not sure, software, it's not going to, you never know. It's not, he's always letting people know that you never know. But I trust, this is the thing. Here's the thing. I don't care about the money as much. I care about the tokens and like all the shit and like what's going on. But it's all the people that really over leverage themselves, right? People over leverage themselves into a sacrifice phase where you can expect no profit from the work of others, period. So that is where the emotion comes from, right? It's between him giving you these little Easter eggs for marketing and the emotional state of people that over leverage themselves in the market or told all their friends about the shit. That's where like people get upset with him, I think. But at the same time, if you read the fine print, if you read the upfront print, you would know that you're not allowed to cry.
Well, I couldn't even give a shit if anybody's upset with him. Like, I don't give a shit about these other people. Right?
Well,
but,
I get more time to study, dude.
Well, and I'm like, if people get pissed off and like they like, peace out, cool, that's fantastic, that's great. Like, because then that just means more selling for me. Longer term thinking, I'm just going to be able to buy more at a discount. I couldn't care less what
one matcha is 33 cents on. I mean, one maxi is 33 cents on matcha.
No,
that's what Bullish just messaged me.
This is 19 cents on Dex.
No, maybe not.
Go
to it. Yeah, our SAC worth more than if still holding that, and we all get a copy of our maxi on the Pulse chain. That whole stake is getting copied over. So remember, you will have your maxi, Sam, on the Pulse chain.
Maxi is also going to be parity very, very quickly. I think Hex is going to. It's 19 cents, 19.5 cents.
Still a great one.
Yeah, it's still good. I do think that premium will continue to grow, as you mentioned. Right? I think it'll be more than that too.
Agree.
Right? I agree. Completely forgot what I was saying, but
get your butt out of here, bro.
I gotta run. I gotta go shower. I haven't showered since.
I'm going to address the chat and then I'm going to jump off. Sam,
cool.
Everyone follow Sam. Make sure you follow him on Twitter. He has videos coming out on YouTube every single day. Make sure you hit the like, hit the subscribe, smash that bell button. His videos are short. His videos are generally short and sweet. So that's, if you're not watching a full length talk, it's like he's giving you a little bit of alpha here and there and there. So he doesn't beat around the bush when he's doing the videos like we do on here. Sam, get your ass out of here. Oh, that was wonderful, guys. What a wonderful stream. If you guys don't mind hitting the like, hitting the subscribe. Oh, I don't think I've seen your name in here before. Oh, forgot about that huge maxi stake. Yep, 150 million. I mean, I can't remember the number. I know it was over 150 million because of the multiplier. Nice. Hear about you, Sam. Yep, Sam is absolutely the man. He makes content every single day. Bodybuilding, Pulse X, Pulse Chain, arbitrage, finance, taxes. He likes the cutting edge, the fringe, the stuff that people don't like to dig into. That's all he digs into. So it's really cool. That's why I sought him out when I was a youngster. And I was like, dude, will you help me? What's the artist of the Hex song? His name's DeFi Proof. DeFi Proof, guys. DeFi Proof. He's coming on here on Friday. Yeah, it's going to be a banger of an episode. Trust me. You trust me that. I'm going to clip that Wendy's versus Crypto Sloth thing from yesterday. So that'll be lit. And guys, it's been an absolute pleasure today. So much fun. What was the artist? I'll do the outro song and I'll let it run. So bullish. I'll press end on it. It's been absolutely awesome being here today. Thank you so much for everything, the support, being in the chat. It's awesome. I'm not 100% sure what I'm doing all the time, but I promise I'm studying and I'm learning and I'm open-minded. And I have no incentive to be like malicious, at least at this point. But you know what I mean? Like I'm here because I want to be here. That is all. I don't know what else to say about it, but I think that I'm the perfect person to be up here because I don't have a lot of strings attached, right? Like there's not people in my life that I need to please. I'm a full-time rogue agent. I can do whatever I please. It's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. But yeah, so guys, have a wonderful day. Listen to this beautiful song by DeFi Proof. On Friday, we might be giving you a snippet of the Pulse Chain song. I've been begging him to let me launch the whole thing on my show, but you know, that would be a lot. So we'll see how it goes, brothers.
Young folks, you tripping on them motherfucker.
Richard Heart. Richard Heart.
Bought my hex from the fucking start. .1 everything we mark. Bought my hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hair restart. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Bought my hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hair restart. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Checking my MetaMask moving. Look at the hex, he's mooning. Looking at wives they be choosing. Peter is why they be losing. Pull chains out and they'll get me a check. Heath gas up and it got me a mess. Remember the times he died collect. Hex I been eating, I'm dying in the best. Getting this back like a year ago. Getting this post, I ain't letting go. Swerving the ring like a Lambo. Getting this back like a year ago. Getting this post, I ain't letting go. Swerving the ring like a Lambo. Bought my hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hair restart. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Bought my hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hair